Welcome to H&D Comedy Podcast.
Work it, boy.
Get funky, get freaky.
With your host, Papa and Davey.
Oh, baby. Ooh.
Thanks for tuning in.
I'm not Burt Kreischer, but I was hot, so it was just I had to get that out in the open.
At least it's hot where you're at. I know we are all in Texas and stuff like that, but it's kind of cold over here. But it's also kind of hot too.
You know what sucked is that like I really wanted to be there physically, but like I have a daughter and she has swimming practice at she's like 2 and some change, and she's a savage. Like she's already like swimming like not halfway, but like almost halfway across the pool by herself. 2 and some change.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
I was floating.
It is crazy. Yeah, she's a savage. I don't know. I have an ongoing joke, which is like I don't know where she gets her genetics from, but she looks a lot like the mailman. So
It happens.
she's so big, man. She's in her like daycare school. She like looks down on the people that are in like the 4s, and she's supposed to be in like the 2 class. She's about to turn 3, but it's funny because she just like bulldogs everybody. She just like.
So
We even work on our faces because I love horror films and we can like talk about whatever, you know, but I don't watch those with her, but I do practice the expressions with her, and I'll be like crazy face and she'll be like, and then sometimes like when we go to Walmart, I'll whisper in her ear and I'll be like serious face and she'll go, and like the girl's like, how's your day going, sweet?
Oh my god.
Yeah. It sounds corny, but like a Hallmark commercial, she's my best friend. Like we do everything together. It's so cool. Let me close this.
it just doesn't come back.
Yeah. He leaves.
Unlike my wife. No, it's always fun banter, self-deprecation, you know?
Of course.
So
Where,
yeah, man.
where you
This
at?
is actually the first podcast I've actually been on of somebody else's.
Oh,
Hey, that's
thank
what's
you.
up. Yeah. That was
Yeah, man.
Popular
So
cherry.
well, I don't want to go that far. You don't know my past.
That's very true. That's very true.
We go.
I met a lot of dudes in my life. Women.
Yeah. Comedy.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
So when you podcast, how do you usually, when you're interviewing people, do you usually like just ask them questions? Do you have like a lineup, or just shoot the shit, or what?
We kind of just shoot the shit, and we're still
That's cool,
starting
man.
out, and we're still kind of figuring out a lot of this stuff like that. And we're trying to be stand-up comedians, and
Yeah,
this is kind of a way of breaking in and being able to talk with people and get in front of people that we don't know and be like, hey, I tell jokes. My wiener's small.
yeah. You know what's cool is I think I heard Joe Rogan say this one time, and this is free advice for you. And it's coming from him. It's got to be pretty good. You know what I mean? Don't listen to me. But if I'm like, this guy said it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna listen to him through you. But he basically said one time that he has a loose amount of like his guests are like scientists and all sorts of stuff. So he'll come up with his own questions. But if it's just comedian to comedian, it's the only kind of people you're going to interview. Which, by the way, if you diversify that portfolio, if you start talking to like a sheriff or a cop or something like that or whatever else, I'm just giving you an example. It could be anything. Like an athlete, you want to tailor those questions to them about something that you could learn if they don't. But the whole point is but for you, it would just be comedian for comedians if that's the lane that you want to stay in, hypothetically. But he basically says that if they're sort of off of the races and they just talk a lot about themselves and it's like the interview is like self-fulfilling, it's a lot less work. But otherwise, if there's a stale moment or if maybe they're a lot more into answering than just talking off the cuff, then he does have like a loose format of questions. So I would always recommend, you can do whatever you want, but I was just thinking of stuff that you might already ask me if you had anything prepared, such as like, where did I start? what kind of comedy do I like, inspirations of mine, just, you know what I mean? Like different things like that. Because if you weren't going to ask that, I was already going to tell that. And I was going to ask you the same. So you might even have experiences where people, it's almost that it's your show, but I'm interviewing you.
Right.
Yeah.
And in all reality, it's just a conversation.
We like to have it to where we'll ask somebody a question and then they just lead on for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then we kind of just chime in every now and then and be like, funny, and then it's like, yeah, and then they keep going, you know.
Yeah.
It's cool because, you know, there's times somebody will be talking about something and then it's like, oh dude, I had that same thing kind of happen to me, and then it jumps in and then all of a sudden it's all these stories coming back and everything, and it's I think that's really cool. But yeah, we have
How long have you guys been doing comedy for?
Oh,
Or like trying to like, let me rephrase that. I think it's always one of the hardest questions, because when you realize you're funny compared to like, so when did you first start writing jokes? That's where I think the real clock starts, in my opinion.
right.
David.
So when do you think you started writing material?
Recent. I've got on stage a few times, but it was when I was like a bad alcoholic. So I would just I'd have to get plastered, and then I get on stage and just make an ass of myself. So like probably like a month, I've been actually writing material and trying to come up with stuff. So.
And your better half?
I've been writing jokes for a while now. I've like on my notes on my iPhone, you can go back and it's just like a list and just list and lit. But because like there's times I'd be like, I'd say something or something had happened, I'd be like, man, that's funny, so I'd write it down. And then sometimes I'd come back to it and like elaborate more on it, or I'd read it again and be like, man, that's not that funny, you know? And then, but I've been doing that since I was probably 20. So about 10 years,
Yeah.
you know, but I've never actually got on a stage.
So, you know, what's funny is that like, I'm a big believer as far as like, imprinting your own memories by talking about those things out loud. And I have my own podcast. All right, it's called Psychological Warfare, and it's just basically about my rise to being a professional stand-up comedian, saying goodbye to my day job, and then but the whole process going through it. And if there's one listener or 1,000 or 10, every time I talk about like lessons, because I'm an Army veteran, right? So there's something called an after-action report, which is something you do. You do like 3 good things and 3 bad things. Sometimes it's hard to find the good. All right. It's really easy to find the bad. Really easy. It like shines at you like a light. Like you don't even want to. You ever like it's like recording a set and knowing that you bombed and be like, why would I listen to this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But finding the good in that is always a bigger challenge. It's also a challenge if you think that you killed it, and maybe you actually did. Finding bad, but that's part of the after action report. It's mentally putting yourself in a place that you are trying to. If you can find bad, you have ways to improve it. So it's really hard. Like imagine being a championship fighter and you had a flawless victory. How do you find bad in that?
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So, point is that like, what I really like about podcasting and just talking to people in general is that if I do get a chance to talk about myself, what I'm really doing is I'm making another memory of more recent or prior lessons learned. And that's one more imprint on what to do, what not to do. Know what I mean?
Right.
So, like for example, open mics. When Corona happened, it was interesting because I wanted to be able. I'm not from Texas, but I wish I was. I love Texas. I'm from like the DC area. It's a horrible place, and it's a horrible place. I wouldn't recommend to live there. And if you want to go to vacation, why? Like, it's just strange. Like, but in all honesty, all of your taxes are what pay for all the museums, and they're for free. So if you do go by yourself, you go to like the World War II Museum, you go to like the NASA Space Center Museum, you do all like this aquarium. It's all for free. Kind of. It's because your taxes pay for it, but you got to travel to DC to enjoy it. So that being mentioned, provided by Antifa isn't, in the streets having peaceful protests. Oh, I'm sorry. Quotes are on both sides. Yeah. Peaceful beginning and end of the quotes. Ever since Donald got in, that whole place is like, that's a place that you want to go to because they're like, man, I feel like people are going to give me money. It's like the opposite of being robbed. Like, he's cleaning up the streets so good, gangsters are starting to give money away.
Right. They're pulling the pants up and buckling them.
$20.
Yeah, I know, it's so crazy. It's so crazy, but it's funny because like I am a grinder. I always want to. I'm obsessed with production, and when Corona happened, I wanted a way to continue to get better, and I always felt as though I'm gonna tell the end point before, so you can follow me along as I'm going through it. I don't do open mics anymore. I don't do open mics anymore, and my progress has been 10 times more. And here's how. So when Corona happened, I wanted to continue. I moved here slightly before Corona, and I started doing shows and open mics and stuff like that and whatever else. And I felt like I kept wasting a lot of time because I was traveling like 45 minutes, and I would get somewhere, and then there's a sign up list, and you're trying to make people laugh that are other comedians, which psychologically it's kind of like the mindset that someone would have if they were watching a baseball game, if they were like in the stands compared to in the dugout. If you're in the dugout, you're not thinking about their performance or you relaxing. You're thinking, I'm up next.
Right.
I need to be mentally prepared. This isn't my time to relax. The audience members, they're in a different set because they're not going to get on stage. Right? So it's two different mindsets. So if I'm trying to make somebody laugh, somebody who is tense and that wants to be on stage, they're focused more on when they're going and what they're going to say than me. So first off, it's a bad test group. It's like trying to sell tickets to basketball players.
Yeah.
and not even that, in the pros, in the pro league.
Right.
Do you really think if Michael Jordan didn't make it to like the finals, you would see him in every single game of the somebody that like beat his team or something,
Right.
sitting in the stands watching?
No.
He's going to be in his house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I realized that when I kept on trying to do jokes to people at bars that were not paying attention while sports games were on, and the majority of open mics, your audience is really just other people that are open micers. So that was a horrible test group, and I didn't really know what were pity laughs, if I was saying anything that was funny or anything. Plus, I had no chance to do anything when Corona happened because everything was sort of locked down. So what I decided is I had just like something connect. And I realized that if I go to a bus station, okay, where they have like they have like a little bus station, right?
Mm.
I could just tell jokes, and about every 8 to 12 minutes, I would get a new group of people.
Damn.
And I would get off work at like 4 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, I got about 5 or 6 sets in, and I would go home, and I just did like 2 weeks worth of open mics. Then it was hot out. And this was like my first summer in Texas. And there was a guy, which made me feel so dumb and so smart at the exact time. You ever have those moments where you feel like you're so dumb and then smart? Like, why didn't I think of that? He looked at me and it was so hot. I will always remember this guy. And he was like, hey, man, let me ask you a question. He said, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, you want to work on your new sets for comedy, right? And this was my equivalent of a regular after wearing a mask, being 6 feet away and telling jokes at people at bus stops. This guy always came at like the 4:15 bus, right? I did the 4:10, his bus up at 4:15. It was like every 10 minutes, all right? And I did it from 4 to 5. I was just determined. Find a way, right? And find a better way at that, right? Worst thing is going to a place and doing an open mic, and then they start to switch the lists around.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing too. That's a real thing too. And the guy looked at me and he said, hey, let me ask you a question. I said, yeah. He was like, you want to make as many people as laugh you can and like try a different group because you can only test out one per person. And I explained what I'm doing. So I always ask him first. I said, yeah. And he said, and you realize that you are outside, right? I said, yeah, what's your point? He's like, you're in the parking lot of a mall where there's more people and air conditioning. I was like, oh, you're right. So I stopped going to the bus station on hot days, just walk in the mall.
Yeah.
There you go.
So now what I do is anytime working on material, and the thing is, the world is your stage, man. I was just practicing material in the Walmart line, just one-liners, just small stuff. Okay, like the premise of an idea. If you build off a bad idea, you're just wasting time. So I start off like a little anthill, and then I turn into a molehill and try to like make into a mountain. So I'll just say like one-liners to people, and I tell them like, hey, listen, I'm a stand-up comedian. I have a joke. I don't know if it's funny, which is different than if you say I have a joke and I know it's funny. I just want to make you laugh. At this point, there's a difference between testing and rehearsing.
Okay.
Scientific method. You don't know if something works. It's only going to go one of three ways, and the middle way can go either left or right. When you try out anything in life, scientific method, right? Again, I'm super fucking analytical, right? So if you try something and you don't have a clue it'll work, okay? You made a weird comment, but it was interesting. You said you write something, you don't think it's funny. I can't tell you how many things that I've said where I did not think are funny and the crowd loves. And I'm like, that was stupid.
Yeah.
It was so dumb. But I'm like, this one's going to kill, and it just flops. And I'm like, oh, okay.
All right.
It's like you never really know. It's weird, right? So what I would do is I would go to the mall and or like at Walmart, and I would just try out just like one-liners, the premise of an idea. Like, I don't know what I'm saying. I have an idea of a joke. Can I just see if I think it's funny? If they laugh. When you say anything that's new, it's either going to work or it's not going to work or somewhere in between. You ever talk to a girl that isn't interested in you? The more you talk with her, what happens?
Oh, yeah.
The more she is uninterested.
Right.
Exactly.
Back at my house. Oh, sorry.
Exactly. Right. So you either talk to a girl and she's sweet on you immediately. She's immediately repulsed. Like, you are so gross.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hate white people. And you're like,
me too.
You want to hate me for the one night?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or there's those girls, or it's in between. And as far as the jokes go, it either works, doesn't work, or it could be in between. In between meaning, if you work on it more, a second time or a third time or a fourth time or whatever, you'll notice that no matter what you do, it keeps not working.
Right.
Or if you keep working on it, regardless of whatever you do, it can continue to not work. But if you can keep working on it, make some adjustments, it might go in this category. So nothing ever doesn't not work. You just got to find out what's the definite yes or definite no. Because there's certain girls that they'll tell you no, and you keep wearing on them, and you're going to turn that no into a yes pretty quick.
The old Family Guy thing when he's like, 50 no's always make a yes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So that's essentially like what I do. When there's a difference, and there's a difference when you're trying any comedy, any material, guys, is that like if you're testing something or rehearsing something. If I'm rehearsing, I'm telling somebody, hey, listen, I know some jokes. I want to rehearse. I want to make you laugh. And they're like, okay, which is different. That's just repetitions because you know it works. And there's a testing phase, which is, I don't know if this works. I do stand-up comedy. I just want to say something, see if I can make you laugh. And that's it. And you can get that done at a checkout line, or if you want more time, go to a mall. I tell people now, don't even do open mics. Just go to a mall. There are not people waiting in line. You can go right after work. You can be home by 5 PM, and you get like 2.5 weeks worth of open mics, and you're home, and you're back to writing and making your adjustments. By the time I try an idea of a joke at like 4 o'clock, whenever I do go to a mall, okay, by the time I leave at 5, it's a completely different, better version of the joke, and it actually works.
Yeah, because okay, yeah.
Because I start off the first person
the city all night going to 4 different open mics.
Exactly.
You walk 100 yards and you've hit 15 different groups.
Yeah,
And then you can go and get a
My
snack
favorite.
or a drink, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so unsuspecting. If you just approach people, my approach is I always go to people and I say, hey, excuse me, I don't want to bother you. And the number one people that my first target are those people in those massage chairs. They're not moving.
Yeah, dude.
They're like, shit.
They're so chill. They're in the best mood.
They're like,
You know,
"What's up, dude?"
they're paying money to get a massage while getting bed bites
Yeah.
at the exact time.
And then you're like, hey,
That's a hard sell.
Yeah.
real quick, can I fuck your day up? I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah, let me tell you something that's either going to make you laugh or ruin your day.
Yeah.
I know you're not.
Yeah,
I know you're not
exactly.
going to chase me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. You know, so the thing is, if it's one person or they're two different people or they're together or something like that, that works great. Okay. And then I just walk around. At this point, I have regulars. I have people at kiosks. So people that are like, do you like lotion from Israel? I will make your face look so nice. You know those people, the kiosks,
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
it's not even a store. And you got the other people like, yo, Sane, let me see your shoes, man. Come on, let me just let me just like shine your shoes real quick, son. That's an impersonation of a Mexican.
yeah, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
you want to hear my impersonation of a black guy?
Yeah.
He's about to say the end.
Hola, how you doing, man? You doing pretty good? Yeah, man. Oh man, I am so bad at doing accents, but I can't do this on stage. People get offended. That's it. Yeah, I do really bad. I realized one day that if you ever do impersonations, make them really bad,
Yeah.
but have it be of somebody else, so you still get the joke across, and you're like, that's not who you were trying to be. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much the go-to, man. I think if both of you at any point, the second you realize that if you just start to make your own path in your own way, the progress you can get. I mean, you ever gone in like to go to like a theater and you're going to go see your favorite horror film or fill in the blank, whatever it is, and they have like 8 different checkout lines to get your popcorn and butter, but for some reason psychologically everybody is in one.
Yeah.
You've seen that.
Yeah.
That's everybody just following the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sheep.
I'm not.
So are you the kind of person, if you're in the grocery store, they have a checkout line? Are you the kind of guy that's going to go to the next aisle? I am.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to find the shortest line.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
see, not enough people. Exactly. So unfortunately, people get stuck in the rut that they need to do open mics. Listen, man, all you need is people.
I think if if you came to Stephenville, it would blow you away a little bit because there's only 2 checkout lines at the movie theater.
That's okay though.
Also, we don't have we don't have a mall, so we'll just go to the local dairy farms and try to make the Mexicans laugh.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine, man. Grocery stores, seriously. Yeah. When I go to the grocery store, I tell my wife, like, I'm going to be back. She knows if I'm going out to get milk, I'll be 2 hours. I'm going to be walking all around that Walmart being like, hey, I have an idea. Like, I'll give you an example. I just wrote this joke the other day. And again, I don't know if it's funny, but I'm getting the impression that it's not. I only want stuff that works 100%. If it's not 100%, if it works on one person and it doesn't the other, and it works and then it doesn't, throw it out. Because you don't want your jokes to be crowd dependent.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the joke, and I can't say it. It might make you laugh. It might make one of you and not the other, or both, or neither. But I have to throw this joke out because it's not consistent. Okay? Yeah. And the reason why is I found out I did other jokes that involve numbers. And if people aren't mathematically inclined just a little bit, they don't get it. So only people that know like 10% of any number will generally laugh. Okay, no disrespect. There's a lot of people, if you ask them what 10% of a number is, they black out. Like, they have no idea.
They're all, fuck.
Yeah, you started talking about percentages.
But you know those people, right?
Yeah.
You know those people.
Yeah.
Like, so one of the jokes that I came up with, and they were all like, kind of like just dumb math jokes, which was one time I won a counting contest. It was easy, because you see what I did was I cheated. Started at 1 billion, then I quit. You see, it's not funny. That's my whole point. Other people, they think it's funny. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
That joke would
but now that I know, I don't want to say it on a stage.
Right.
Every joke you say has to work. Every joke you say should be an Instagram reel. You shouldn't have your best up in the front. They should all be the best. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll tell you 2 other jokes, which I recently, they were along that line, and I realized, because I put numbers in there, just people either didn't understand it or whatever. Okay, for whatever reason, it was just too complicated. You think too much. So another one that I wrote, bombed. I don't mind talking about bombs because I'm not going to say it on stage. But anyway. But again, it's good that I do this like at Walmart and not like for a paid show.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like,
the promoter's like,
get your money back.
Yeah.
The promoter's like, what the fuck was that numbers joke, dude?
Yeah.
The other one was one day I was super motivated and I did 30 things in 30 minutes. All I did was, I was like, what was it? Oh yeah, one day I was super motivated. I did 30 things in 30 minutes. It was sweet. All I did was, I counted 60 30 times. You see what I mean? Like, and then the follow-up joke is, another day I was motivated, but just less. I did 60 things in a minute. Just kidding. That's impossible. Again, it's just stupid, juvenile, like dumb stuff. And you guys laughed at those 2, right? But the trick is, if you don't know there's 60 seconds in a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some girl's like, that's impossible.
Yeah. How do you? There's no way.
You know what's funny is, the only ones that it didn't work on were women.
I know.
Makes sense.
I'm not sexist, but I am a little bit.
I'm statistically accurate.
That was like I came up with this joke the other day, and I was like, love and hate are such weird words, you know, because like love means good, like you love, like I love you, and you know, hate's bad, like I just hate you so much. But it's like, you know, I can love killing people, but I hate how soft the kitten is, you know, like
Yeah.
you know, it's just kind of one of those words, like, oh my god, you know, I don't know. I thought it was something that
Yeah.
I thought of, and I was like, it's kind of funny. Maybe I can elaborate more, you know.
But see, the thing is like, it's such a weird thing, man, because like I feel like now, like, by the way, another random thing. I think the difference between now and yesteryear, right, is that people knew that you could say crazy stuff and it was a joke. But now people in the audience, they get offended because they're like, "You literally meant that, didn't you?"
Yeah.
And you're like,
No,
not even a little bit.
no.
I'm on a stage.
Of course
with a
I don't.
mic. Come on.
Now, here's if you ever do have a string of questions that you like actually wanted to ask. I think one would always be not just like when did you start or something like that, but also like who are your favorite comedians? And I'll tell you mine up front. If you haven't ever heard of him, you got to listen to him. Number one is Don Rickles. You ever heard of him?
Oh yeah.
He's like king of the insults,
Yeah.
right? He actually is the guy that started roasting.
Yeah.
He is the guy. I remember I watched one of my first roasts that I watched him do and the other one is Richard Pryor, because I love his long story format compared to Don Rick, you know, his like short, snappy. His was like a lot of like crowd work, kind of a thing, just constantly making fun of other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one, which I have to put him in there because of his one-liners, Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Can't get no respect
all day.
Yeah,
all day. No respect.
One of my favorite movies is Back to School. Love it.
Yeah. Right. But it's funny because like I remember watching a joke that now if somebody said it, it would be like he would be blacklisted or canceled, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I watched this one roast with Don, and I think Ronald Reagan, president at that time, was there, and like what was it, Sammy Davis, like one of the guys from the Rat Pack and stuff like that. And he goes like, "Sammy, I love you. You're such a great guy." He's just like, and they were really great friends. And black audience, white, mixed, everybody's just having a good time. He was just like, "Sammy, I call him Hockey Puck. That's his nickname." And then he explains the reason why. Have you heard this one?
Yeah, but go ahead.
He said, So he basically was just like, "Yeah, I call Sammy Davis Hockey Puck. That's a nickname I gave him because he's black, ugly, and gets beat a lot." I was like, "Dear God!"
If you said that today, if I said that to Kevin Hart,
it's crazy, man.
But see, I think nowadays though, you say it and like people are like, "Oh, like he needs to be canceled," and then it's like, does he though? Like, is he not just gonna? Does that not just make him more known? You know, because it's like that just makes him more.
And honestly, the problem is that no, unless you're already famous. So this is a big problem that I have with comedy. Is it like everything you're saying is right, but you're being punished for it because it should separate you. But nowadays, people like Tony Hinchcliffe, and this is just fact, okay? People like Tony Hinchcliffe give a false premise of being able to say that kind of comedy outside of his realm.
Right.
Because you can't.
Yeah.
You can't say that kind of stuff to an HR, to a church, to a crowd, a venue. I mean, imagine if what's his name? Jerry Jones from the Dallas Cowboys wanted to do 5 minutes.
Oh.
Do you think he would ever let kill Tony in the Dallas Stadium?
No.
Mm-mm.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I was
all right.
He got Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, exactly. And Tony Hinchcliffe, being great and everything, the one that really got him famous was Joe Rogan. If it wasn't for Joe Rogan, honestly, and a lot of these other people, Bert Kreischer, no one knew who Bert Kreischer was. Nobody knew who Bert Kreischer was. Bill Burr, all these people, they were already, there was an era in stand-up comedy when Robin Williams and Joe Rogan, all these people were already doing stand-up comedy. But Joe Rogan...
Oh.
Shit.
Did we lose you? Hope the cats didn't fucking tear me.
We need to hang up and call him back.
think we're good. Should
So
be.
all I was saying is that Joe Rogan, before Instagram, think about it like this: like 10 years ago, Instagram did not exist.
Right.
It didn't.
True.
The actors that are famous today are the same actors that were famous 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's Chris Hemsworth. It's Tom Hardy. It's Pierce Brosnan. It's Robert De Niro. Al Pacino. It's all the exact people. There's no new actors. Plain and simple. The well is dry. And those actors are either acting more, but there's no nobody. The only way to be a famous actor is like if that's like your family, or you had a son and it's many years later. Like I think like Clint Eastwood's boy, Scott Eastwood. You know what I mean? So it's either through that or from some sort of like networking. Okay, like James Franco, he is awesome. One of my favorite films, Pineapple Express.
Yeah, love it.
Yes,
it's a classic. It's great, right? But people again like Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, James Franco. Even James Franco, he got his brother into films, and that's why he was in 21 Jump Street. Remember that?
Yeah.
All right, now multiply that. Those people that were already famous, comedians included. When social media came out, they became even more famous. So there became like a barrier. And the only way to really break through that barrier is getting on their level, getting to know them or something like that.
right. Yeah,
Now, I'm not saying you see what I mean? So it's unfair, but it's also reality. So if you don't know these people, you could do 1,000 shows and it never accumulates to anything more than drops in a pool. So my philosophy is if you're consistent, if you continue to work hard, okay, it could be the randomness of opportunities or stuff like that, or random consistencies. But as long as you're consistent with your craft, then opportunities will arise. It's impossible. You can't keep running the gambit, so to speak, and not have good things happen. And I don't really know where, or I don't really know how, but if you just keep getting after it, you'll get there. Because one of the most motivating things you always hear, like Navy SEALs talk about, is like when a guy quits beside them during their training, they're like, great, that's one less guy. I'm that much closer.
Right.
Yeah.
So anytime I hear about a person like quit doing comedy, I'm like, great, I just moved up.
Just one less guy.
You know what I mean? Like Joe Rogan, he only got famous. Most people didn't even know Joe Rogan was a comedian when he was doing the UFC.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or news radio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
News radio.
He was on news radio. He was on Fear Factor. If it wasn't for these things, he could not sell a ticket.
Yeah.
Because there's comedians that come through every week at the Addison Improv or other comedy clubs you've never heard of in your life.
Right.
And they're working comedians, but there's like levels to this. Right. So you got to be on television. You got to do this. You got to network. That's the only way. It's not like a performance thing. And that's my biggest frustration. Is because like there's like you can turn it on like Prime Video and see some girl who is like super diverse and she has like some special, that maybe you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like an audience of Antifa, basically, or like super liberal people. And she only does one show.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about how back in the day it went from like, are you funny to like how many followers do you have now?
Yes.
It's like now it's like, oh, you've got 10,000 followers. Okay, get on stage. And then they get on stage and it's like poop. And then it's like, okay, that's
man.
it. That's all you got. Like you're funny on TikTok, but you're not funny in real life. Like, come on.
I didn't think you guys.
After you make 26 takes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem with social media too. Like if you're just posting stuff, like you post stuff from your actual shows. And but then you have these comedians that like, I get it. You made a funny video, but it wasn't organic and you didn't just bring it off the cuff.
Correct.
So
some of them are like, they're following like the trend or whatever.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. And a lot of other people like T.I., the rapper, he gets people to write his material now. And now he does stand-up comedy shows. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
No,
look up. If you got a separate computer, look up T.I. stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah. T.I. Greatest movie performance of all time, ATL. Oh man. While he's looking that up. Whoa. Funnest venue you've performed at?
most fun venue I've ever performed in. I did a police department. It was the Keller, I believe it was Keller Police Department, and it was it's a city in nearby, like in between like Fort Worth and Dallas, and it was great because if you want a perfect audience, you want military, you want police, you want people that you can make a mistake and someone won't hold you accountable for it, right? In the name of comedy. Plus, you want people that are, savages. Like if you had it in an audience that you wanted to make laugh, do you want them to be a lot of sissies that get, or do you want people that, they just got off a shift from throwing somebody on the ground and they went out for beers after?
Yeah. I worked at a hospital for like 3 years, and I think that's where I got a lot of like the one-liners and stuff, because these nurses you have to dissociate. They see horrible things for 12 hours. I mean,
exactly.
Of course we're in the back making fucking jokes because we'll lose our minds if we don't.
That's like their way of coping, you know, like cops, especially in paramedics. They just came up on a body that's got no head on it, and it's like, well, I guess he didn't see that coming or something,
He'll never get ahead in life.
Yeah. Well, his wife must have been a spider.
Have you guys seen the new? Naked Gun?
No.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
You haven't seen it,
dude? You gotta watch it.
Watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so good.
Dude. Everybody dogged on it too. They were like, "Oh, it's too cheesy. It's bad." And it's like, that's the point.
That's the whole point of a Naked Gun
of the movie.
That's my favorite kind of film. Is like that's my favorite kind of comedy too. Is like dumb, juvenile, stupid, like
a blind man.
They'll be like,
feel my way out.
Yeah. Right. They'll like start an interrogation. They'll be like, take a seat, and the guy will be like, no, thank you. I have plenty at my home.
Yeah.
Like it's just so stupid.
Like a midget at a urinal. I got to be on my toes.
They have this one part. There's one part where the guy was like, it was like Frank Drebin's son and the other guy, his partner's son. They're walking in and they're like disgruntled about this one criminal that got off the hook. And the one guy said to the other, they're like, I can't believe he got off. And he's like, well, it's like they say, you can't fight City Hall. And the guy was like, that's right. It's a building.
Yeah. The part when they're talking with the pictures of their dads and everything, and it's like, hey dad, it's me.
Yeah.
And he gets down to OJ's kid and he's like,
I'm going to watch that again. I'm going to watch it again tonight because that kind of stuff actually inspires me for my writing. Because there's not enough of that out.
Yeah.
Like they have this one part where remember, okay, unfortunately, this is not a spoiler, but it's just like one small scene where there's a part where it's like one of those, they can't say it's a Tesla, but one of the electric cars is flipped over, and it's early in the film, and he gets a rubber glove to collect the evidence. He puts it on, and then he grabs the evidence with the hand without the glove on it.
Yeah,
and he says, and he hands it to a guy. He's like, bag this. There's just too much going on.
oh man. And then, a lot of people wouldn't have noticed that either. Like they would just think, oh yeah, he just pulled the evidence out, and it's like, but it's not with the, like, come on, people. I like watching comedy stuff like that where you have to really pay attention and be like, my wife, I'll be like, do you not see that? And she's like, no, like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, and there was like some like dicey racial jokes and stuff like that. There was one where like there's this part where he's talking to like a bartender or something like that. And he's like, I think his back was turned around, and he was like, how many people you actually shot? Or like, and then he was like, what about in the back? What about this? And what about that? And the last one was like, what if he was black? He's just like, I can't think that high. I'm like, I can't count that high. He was like, none. Like, what if they were black? He was like, I can't count that high.
Oh man. Yeah, that was a good movie. I thought it was pretty funny. You should definitely watch it.
Who are some of y'all's favorite comedians?
Oh,
Jimmy Carr, by the way. He's amazing.
Jimmy Carr's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I love his like brilliant like comedy. His is like that real like, what? You
one-liners.
What? Yeah, I like Andrew Santino.
Oh, he's great.
Matt McCusker.
I don't even know who he is, or maybe I do. As you're talking, I'm gonna look up another.
He's the one that's on. He's with Shane Gillis.
Oh yeah.
Matt Shane's podcast. Yeah, him.
He's pretty funny.
I mean, I like a lot of comedians. I'm trying to think like my favorite. Those are like my favorite ones right now.
What about ever of all time? Like your biggest inspirations, or like if I could do joke? Who like inspires you the most?
Probably Chappelle.
Maybe even someone that you wish that you kind of like. I feel like a lot of people that make me laugh are the people that have my sense of humor. So Dave Chappelle, I liked his older stuff, but nowadays I feel like he's way too like political
Like
and
Chappelle show was
I like
what inspired me a lot. Like that show was so ridiculous when it came out.
I love Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac.
He is amazing.
I used to watch the Kings of Comedy growing up. So Bernie Mac, D.L. Hewley, Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer,
Cat Williams,
Cat.
Oh yeah, Cat.
Santino's new special was just fucking
hilarious.
Yeah,
dude.
it was great.
Do you like Andrew Schultz at all?
Love Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, I haven't really watched any of his stand up. I like him kind of like on podcasts and stuff like that, but I haven't really.
You know what's funny about that? I feel that way about Theo Vaughn. Like I feel like Theo Vaughn is hilarious in his podcast, but his stand up not so much.
Yeah.
I like the one where he's in New Orleans.
Personal,
yeah, the one where he's all like, me and my friends used to play a gay chicken, homosexual como pollo or something like that. And he's like, where you grab each other's dicks and whoever gets hard first loses. And he's like, you fake pumping me, bro? That was before the mullet, though. So maybe the mullet not
crazy. He started on Real World or Road Rules
with Bert.
There you go. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know this, but even Andrew Schultz, he was on MTV for like 4 years or something like that before he even did comedy.
Was he on Guy Code?
Yeah, he was like, him and Chris Stefano and like all them.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so all these people that are stand-up comedians, they didn't get there from stand-up comedy.
Yep.
And then now I feel like this is another reason why you should just in my opinion, run away from open mics is because it's more popular than ever before. It's like there's tons of people that don't put in the work, that absolutely are awful. They suck. They don't want to be better. They're bad not because they're not trying to get better. They're bad because they don't want to be better. They just think it's a shortcut to getting famous and making money and stuff like that. And if there's 20 people in an open mic, there could be 2, and you could be one of the 2, okay, that are actually there to put in the work, to try to figure out, does this work, does that work? But are you really going to find those answers for people that are inspiring to be famous on TikTok, if that's your only audience? No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times in an open mics and all I see is people's heads like this. They're just like writing their jokes for they're thinking about stuff.
Bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it's a problem.
The dude writing over there, what are you writing about?
Yeah,
memoirs?
He's writing your joke down.
Yeah, right.
I actually asked a guy that one time, and this one guy was just like, I think he was just like, that last joke made him laugh, and then he wrote it down. Do you notice that? And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy because I have an allergic reaction to people. If they write my jokes, I violently start punching them. The whole crowd laughed. The guy got up, and I was just like, "Where's your pen, bro?"
Yeah. You didn't want to write that part down, huh?
No.
Why are you running?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of my I remember before George. I really do feel like the whole George Floyd Black Lives Matter thing. Don't be political, but too late.
We're 30 minutes in. You can go ahead.
It's okay. It's funny because I really do believe that was the dynamic shift of cancel culture. Because before that, it was like the Wild West. Mm-hmm. You could say anything and this and that, and it was funny or not funny. But then I remember I've been canceled from I'm not even famous anymore getting canceled. I'm like, come on, man. Let me at least get up there first. Because a lot of times when people get in trouble, they get a bump.
Yeah.
I get a bump.
I didn't get no fucking bump.
I have to go backstage to get a bump, and I don't even want that bump.
I know what you meant by that.
Yep. Ooh, hit him right on the nose.
Is that salt on the table? I don't remember having steak. It's funny because
whoa!
I had this one joke where I was talking about my dentist, my former dentist, this Korean guy, and this is all true. So. I'll tell you the reason I got kicked out and then what the joke is leading up to it. So I got kicked out for using accent, from a country that I am not. And the reason why is because I wanted to separate his voice from mine. So I spoke from what I guess was an Asian Korean accent and me. The jokes had nothing about his accent. It just sounds better when somebody with an accent makes fun of you.
Yeah.
if I was like, "You're an idiot," I'm like, "Oh, you're so stupid." You know what I mean? Like, you see what I mean? I said the exact thing. Right. It just sounds funnier. I don't really like certain accents. Like the Asian sarcasm hits so hard. Like, "Oh, you are really dumb. You don't know how dumb you are."
Like Johnny over the weekend.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
But that, it's always like a deep exhale, like, right before they like wind up the insult to throw it at you. So the thing is, when I met my old dentist, it was this Korean guy, South Korean, not North. Anyway, I have to explain that to some people. They don't know. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to Carolina for a vacation, North or South. What?
Kim's gonna be there. What?
Yeah. There are people that don't get Matt jokes too, but whatever. Anyway. But so the joke is like, what happened is when I went to go see my dentist, and he apparently wanted to retire, but he promised his wife that, and this is all true, he promised his wife that he wouldn't retire until he had no more patients. And so what he was doing is, I found this out in hindsight after the fact, this is why he treated me the way, he would treat his patients like absolute shit, so they would just want to go to somewhere else. So he was like forcing his own retirement.
Yeah.
Because he'd already been doing dentistry or whatever it's called for like 35 years or something like that.
Right.
And I was supposed to, I guess, be his like second to last patient, like ever. And he told me that after the fact, after he said these very mean things to me, which I thought were hilarious. He just said them to the wrong guy.
Yeah, you're right? Like, I'm coming back next week, dude. Like,
so think about that. This guy had this conversation with his wife like that morning, legit. And that day, he devised a plan to start talking mad shit to all of his patients, starting with me. Okay. And then this lady after, and then from that point forward until, and I like asked his staff after, I was like, is he really like trying to get rid? He's just like, yeah, I mean, I might as well try to find another job. I don't really know how long he can do this, but he's really good at being mean.
He's really good at being mean.
Like, but he pays really well.
Yeah. Well,
So I remember this is exactly what happened. And this was, I'll try to say it as though it's like joke form, but this is also exactly how it happened. So I was sitting in my dental chair, like leaned back. You know, the dental assistant always kind of like leans you back. They put the little bib on you and stuff. And he has Korean people are like the black people of Asia, bro. For real. Like they're bigger than the other Asians. Okay, not a lot of people know this, but if you do know, it hits harder. But anyway, so he had like on some Dre beats. There's like K-pop. They break dance. Korean people are amazing. They're all on their facial products. They're tall. You know what I mean? Like, like they even got like Korean gangsters. They're the guys like pull their socks up and like see them in like West LA or at least in films. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So he walks in with his Dre beats on. All right. And I'm laying back like this, and he comes around the corner, and he's like 6'2", just big old Korean dude. And he was like, open your mouth, show me what you're working with. I was like, oh.
I don't
I was like, that's not a way. And I can hear the kind of the music he's listening to, and it's what's his name? Mystical. It's shake your ass, watch yourself. He puts it down here. I'm like, show me what you work. That's the reason why I said he said. Open your mouth. Show me what you're working with. Yeah. And I'm like,
ew.
You are a doctor. So I went, and he looked in, he went, oh, what you do for fun? Chew rock? I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, excuse me? He said, if your teeth were in a music group, you know what name a band would be called? I said, what? He went, Jagged Edge.
Jagged Edge.
He said, your teeth remind me like a city skyline at night. They go, and he just kept ragging on me, and I put my hand on his chest. I was like, if you're gonna keep talking like that to me, let me relax more because I'm really enjoying it. And he did not expect that. He was just like, oh, why are you touching me? You like boy? You a boy? You like boy? I was like, I'm not a boy. And then this like Chinese lady. I'm telling you, it's exactly how it happened. This Chinese lady rolled up, was his next, she had like her nephew or something like that in the next room, and the assistant was like, hold on, you know those computer chairs? He had these like cubicles, and he would push his computer chair from like one side to the other and start working on the next person. It was weird. He would just roll around, he wouldn't even get up, he was just like, he was one guy with like 6 different dental chairs, and they were divided by like little cubicles. No privacy.
Yeah.
And it was funny because there was this one guy, this girl right beside the last, which I will find out was the last patient. Long story short, it was this lady. I guess she was from like China, and they had like her nephew or something like that. And he was like, I am going to translate for you. And she started talking, and she was like, "Don't get la, honge, na, he mishi I, he shaka." I'm not actually speaking Chinese, by the way.
Yeah, sounds good though.
I'm just making up something, right?
I saw the subtitle.
And I'm watching him, and I can tell the difference between like Chinese and Korean and stuff. Plus, he told me, but anyway, and I know it wasn't Korean, but like the way it sounded, you know, Koreans were like, Chinese are like, ching, 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 ching. All right, that's my horrible explanation. Yeah. Exactly. So, and he's like nodding his head, and guy's like, and he's like, okay, I'm Korean. Stop being racist. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Where am I?
And then he said, tell that woman to open her mouth. And she opened, he went, oh, tell her close her mouth. Close her mouth. And he's just like, I'm not lying. He says, okay, we have two solutions. Tell her to leave now, go to bank, get a loan. Come back with lots of money, because it would take lots and lots of money to fix what she got going on. She needs something called Benja. They just hanging on by thread. They tried to run away from her face.
Jesus Christ.
He said, option 2, I have hammer and back. I go out, I can clean it all out. I can put you new Benja today. And then he's just like, you don't want me to actually. He's just like, say it, boy. And I'm like, it's not.
You're the boy now.
So he told it to him, and she got up, and she was like, chair. She said something, and he was just like, okay. And he's just like, one last patient. And that was when I asked him what happened. So what I said, it had some funny parts, but I'm giving you context. It was much shorter, much faster. All right. Yeah. And at the end of the set, it wasn't even a set. It was just one part of like an 8-minute set. Somebody got up and told me that they were offended because I used an accent from a country that I'm not. Again, even though they're making fun of me and somebody else, and I was never allowed to go back to that place again.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. I'd be like, fine, I don't want to come back.
I wanted to, though.
Oh.
Yeah. You're like, but I'm boy.
Yeah, but I'm boy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Next time you see a guy who you think is, if you want to, you two together, whoever's listening, they can be like, that's a boy.
That's a boy. That's boy over there.
Boy. We started saying this thing where it's like when it's like, oh, that's gay or whatever. Just like, no, I'm just a really good actor.
Yeah.
So like something happens and it'll be like, man, that's a really good actor over there.
Yeah. You know what's funny is my wife, she's actually from Brazil. And if I don't even have to ask you guys, but if you could have Pepsi or Coke, what would you probably have?
Yeah, Coke.
Probably Coke.
Yeah. Right? That seemed like the general answer, right? Now, even if it is Pepsi or Coke, those are only the only two options. And usually it's only one. It's only usually Coke, not Pepsi, that most people like. Well, in Brazil, they have an indiscreet way of saying that that somebody is gay. And they'll say, like, ele bebe Fanta, like, I think he likes Fanta. Like, he's different.
He's different.
It's very indiscreet. Other things they say is like, it's very like not discreet. Like they have this one thing where it's like he burns the hole in the donut. Like I don't know what that means.
I don't want to know what it means.
I don't want to know what it means. But it's
as we're googling it.
Yeah, burning the hole in the donut.
Yeah, he burns the hole in the donut. I don't want to think about it means, but like I said, it's too visual for me. But
would you say?
Yeah, man.
Babalala Fanta.
Yeah. Ele, which means like he, bebe, which means like drinks, Fanta.
Ele bebe Fanta. Ele bebe Fanta.
Yeah, exactly. Like he drinks Fanta.
Yeah.
Or you could say like I think he likes Fanta. So I speak like Brazilian Portuguese, not as good as my wife. And it's funny because when I'm around people now, when I go to Brazil, like I'm going to Brazil, I kind of say unfortunately. It's a bad thing, but you don't get to really choose your neighbors. right? In the exact way you don't get to choose the location of your in-laws. And I love my in-laws. They're the coolest people ever. However, hypothetically, they live like really far away from like a beach. And we went 1 year to the beach, and I think we stayed there for like a week. But the thing is, I would be asking my in-laws to be driving like 6 hours just to get to a beach.
Oh yeah,
It's a long drive, right? And it's almost like at that point, it's like, or more. It could be 10
yeah, shit.
in one direction. But to ask that is really too much. And I understand that. So that's why I say it's like a good and a bad thing. Not that I don't want to go, but I wish in different circumstances that we could it would be convenient for them. But you don't want to be inconvenient when you're coming to visit somebody.
Right.
But
Especially if it's like a vacation or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But my wife, she's from this like super small city where like the nearest airport is like 5.5 hours away.
Shit.
Damn.
So again, it's not like a disrespect thing, but when I go there, I just wish that if it's like vacation, that we could all be in like a place that was like, that's a lot more like, relaxing for everybody. I want them to be on a vacation. I don't want them to be in their own house. I want them to have room service. You know what I mean? Like, let's elevate everybody's surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a 5-to-1 currency ratio.
Damn.
Shit.
So if I go there, I'm rich. Plus, as a white guy, I'm exotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
They're like, hey, white boy, come here.
Oh, Chris Jericho.
Yeah. That's why my wife like first fell for me, because like, come to find out, if you're white, you're considered like exotic.
Nice.
It's a strange thing. So when they come here, this is like Mecca for them. This like, you're like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. This guy's so pale. Can't believe it.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Every
John
other
Smith.
country, every other country, you know, everybody's like tan or they have some kind of like color to them. You know, in America, it's just like, God dang, go outside, man.
You get some sunscreen.
Yeah, I had this
You know, when
joke
they
that I
say
used to
sunny D,
say.
they're not talking about this orange juice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I had this joke that I used to say. I try to say anything racial, even if it's about white people, to a degree, which is like, I'm so white, I'm considered light skinned in the white people community. So, but again, some white people can get offended from that, and it's like, what can you say nowadays?
Yeah.
I actually came up with a joke, which I think does work, but again, I haven't said it on. I've tested it a few times so far; it's been pretty accurate. But it's just dumb one line. My philosophy now, as far as what I'm doing for comedy within the last like month, I realized that because of Instagram, people when they swipe, they have. I think they said that it's like science, but I think it's like 2 to 4 seconds before people decide they don't like something and just swipe it.
Oh yeah.
So that means that what I'm doing now is I'm doing nothing but one-liners for the first like 5 to 10 minutes. Because if you really think I want a show, you want to be able to do something that if you were on the Tonight Show or whatever, even if you hate that guy, which who wouldn't, but anyway, that you want to have as many jokes and as many laughs. You don't want to tell one story if you have 2.5 minutes to tell a joke and with one laugh at the end, regardless of how funny it is. And that's really, really risky. You know, people want to see how great you are in how short amount of time. So what I started to realize based off my last show that I did, which was just like a couple Saturdays ago, that one learning lesson, interrupting myself, imprinting something in my mind, is do a mic check. As a professional, you can't be trusted that the equipment you're given. And when I did this show, everybody in the front row was laughing, and it was weird. It was like the second half, like the back room, they weren't laughing. And someone told me after the fact that they thought that I was funny, but they couldn't hear my jokes. And that was a learning lesson on my part, because that means that if you're expected to be a professional before you get somewhere, you should do a mic check. And they say, oh, we have microphones. That's fine. I want someone to stay at the end of the room. I'm going to talk and see if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, bring your own equipment. I bought mine from Costco. It's this badass. It's called like Trail something. It has like a Bluetooth, and it also has a cord that I can plug in the microphone if needed, plus a power cord if needed, but it stays charged, and it's louder than all hell. And if I would have done that, it would have been a better show. So I left with 50% less references, that if they ever met somebody, or maybe who knows who you they say that like everybody knows somebody from like 6 or 7 people away.
Right.
You know, for like 7 people from me, you can know the president, legit. Because I know a guy that works in DC, and then he knows a guy whose best friend is Secret Service, and that guy works with this guy, and that guy knows the president. So you're like 5 people away from the president just from talking to me. Honestly, right?
Yeah.
So somebody you're telling a joke for, you may make such a great impression that they were like, hey, listen, have you ever heard of Dana McBride? He was in a show called Eastbound and Down. I'd really like you to meet him. And you're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. Who the fuck are you?
Well,
I'm his aunt.
I was just on some podcast where these guys were like talking about salt, code word cocaine, and they were talking about this, and now you're saying that, and you just lost 50% of your references if he can't even hear you, and that's your fault. It's my fault, right? But the point is, I realized that if I need people to focus, I need to get you locked in, and I can't get you locked in by telling you a long story in the beginning. What I'm doing now is I'm doing nothing but one-liners for the first like 5 to 10 minutes. Plus, that can carry over to 2 5-minute sets if it was a smaller venue or you're hosting or something like that, hypothetically, whatever, right? And after about that 5 to 10 minute mark, people are locked in. They're locked in because they're so used to like listening. It's like bam, 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 bam. It's like they can't let their defense down. You know what I mean? They don't have time to like look at their phone and swipe 2 to 4 seconds. You know what I mean? You just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. Then after you got them hooked, then you can start to, you know, diversify that show and do like a little bit longer sets and stuff. You know what I mean? So my last joke is 2.5. It's 2.5 minutes and 1 laugh at the end, but it's a great joke. I'll tell you at the end of it, and I have nowhere to go. You guys got to go, whatever. I'm just saying, but we can talk as long or as little as you want, but that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing as many effective one-liners, which are great because if it doesn't work, I can throw it away. But if it works, I can just lock it. And technique-wise, you got to keep them sharp always. But once you know something works, just put it here. They don't have to even be connected together. That's also what's great about one-liners, is that if you know something gets funny, you can just put it beside something else that's funny, and then something else that's funny. And they don't have to connect together. It's not a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you start doing that, start loading up your jokes with one-liners, okay? Who knows? You might do a whole hour of one-liners, but more than likely, after about 5 to 10 minutes, you can actually start to get more in-depth stories. But a lot of places, they're only going to want you to do like 20, 30 minutes. Most people, they think because they've seen specials that everybody does an hour. An hour is hard, but it's also easy, all right? Right. An hour is just 1 minute 60 times. That sounds dumb.
Wait, what?
But it's true.
No.
You know what I mean?
He's trying to use
so, man, that's too many fingers. I lost count.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, man. So
thanks for the tip. That makes me think, like, you know, like especially like the people that walk out on stage and they're like, "How's everybody doing? You hear me back there in the back?" You know, and then try to get like the people in the crowd to be like, "Woo" or whatever. I guess to kind of be like, all right, I got your attention, or you can hear me, you know, and then that's when you can kind of be like, one liner. Can
you hear me? And are you listening? Those are 2 things. And I think if you even address that to your crowd, if you haven't had a chance, we should always try to make time. If someone's going to pay you $500 for doing 15 minutes, you better make sure they can fucking hear you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's actually the money that you should be getting paid. And we can talk about that too. I use gigsalad.com and something called thebash.com for shows. And most people, like corporate companies and stuff like that, they don't know. They'll say an hour. I want everybody to do an hour. Well, the thing is, if it's not a stand-up comedy club and it's for like some corporate event, tell these people, listen, I want you to be successful. And that begins with telling you how much time you need. An hour is too much. If the event is for a wedding reception or a corporate event, 15 minutes tops, no more than 20. 30 minutes is like way too much because people aren't there. People didn't fly out to see you. They flew out to see the guest of honor. They came out to celebrate something, or they're getting together for work, or some of them want to go home. Okay, and there's nothing worse than having a work function after work that you're supposed to attend to. Yeah. But if you can make them enjoy it, keep it brief, keep them wanting more. Plus, if you do a 15-minute set, if you do have an hour, you can sell them 3 more shows in 15-minute intervals. If you do a 20-minute set, you can sell them 2 more shows in 20-minute intervals of that hour once you have an hour.
Yeah.
No one's going to pay for 5 minutes. And what you should be charging people is, and you should be aiming for this. Would you ever trust somebody, with an $8 bicycle if you bought it for $8?
No.
No, especially go downhill. Now imagine giving that as a gift.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Even less, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking about risk to you compared to risk to somebody else, right? So my point is that when you explain to people, I'm telling you right now, you can go to gigsalad.com or thebash.com, put your information out there, put like a couple sets. And then when somebody sends out, hey, we need a comic for this event, what's your rate? They might even say $50 for an hour. They have no idea. They don't know what to charge, and it's not their fault. But if you educate them and say, listen, it's not your fault. First off, let me work for you for free. We're going to reduce this from an hour to 15 minutes because it's not about you. It's about this person. Okay. Or it's about your corporate event or whatever else. All right. You guys, myself included, should be looking for stuff that's $500 every 15 minutes. And you can justify that payment because if you were to go to a stand-up comedy club, the real comedian that does an hour, they only really do about 45 minutes. Host does 10. Feature does 10. Host does 5. There's your hour. Okay. If the comedian wants to go over, do an extra 15, do a full hour, which they usually don't. Some of them do. It's usually like 45, 48, 55 minutes. But if it was a full hour, hypothetically, depending on the guy or girl, usually guy. Anyway, they're going to get paid. They're going to get paid $2,000, even though they're doing 45 minutes. But $500 every 15. That 15 minute, the host gets like $350. The feature gets like $350. The host gets $150. So there's your $2,000. If you're doing a full hour because you don't have a feature and you don't have a host, you're going to be getting $2,000. You are your host. You are your feature. Okay. And hosts typically do what? They do short, quick, snappy jokes. Right. So if you're the only one booked for a show, you are your own host. So you need to do short, snappy jokes, right? For the first like 5 to 10 minutes. Once you're at 15, the crowd is loving you. I'm out.
Yeah. It's time to go.
Yeah.
If you tell people, also another thing is if you tell people, we're like, well, this guy, he said he's going to do an hour for $100. You tell them, listen, give them that bicycle analogy. Do you want to pull up in a Mercedes or do you want to pull up in a busted rental? Okay. Yeah. Because you should not, you tell people this up front. This is what I do. This is how I make money when I'm getting jobs. Okay. For comedy. As a matter of fact, about 5 minutes before this started, I got a quote on Gig Salad and I have an automatic reply. And I try to call and I left a message right before I signed on. If somebody contacts you, don't just email them, call them because they're not expecting you to call.
Yep.
And then if they haven't made an answer in like 5 days, call again, follow up. Why? Because most people aren't going to call, but if they do, how many people are going to have a second call to that same person? Right, even less. Yeah. You want to be the one they think about first and second and last. I made 2,500.
Sorry.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it shows you're willing to work. Like you're being like, hey man, like I'm willing to help you. If you want to help me, kind of thing. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And tell people that I don't want you to lose money because if you pay and you explain to people why. If you break up the math. You explain to people why they should be paying you $500 for 15 minutes at the bare minimum. Explain to them if that's out of their budget. Ask them if there is a budget. Don't go any lower than like 400. All right. Because if people start to get word around that you can be bought for less, okay. Would you rather do less shows for more money or more shows for less?
Right.
More money, you have more time. You have more everything, right? Plus you start to have a higher clientele list as far as people that pay you more, But anyway, long story short, if you explain to people that you'll be wasting money and the last thing I want you to do is lose $250 for trying to save money when you're actually wasting money. You're only saving money if you're actually getting quality, okay? Otherwise, you're wasting money. When people understand that and you explain it to them, you need to hand feed it to them. People will willingly give you 400 or 500. But if you tell them, like, if price does matter, okay, how low are you willing to go? Because just remember, it's different from me starting a higher price. I've done jobs for $250. for 15 minutes. But I start my price out at 500 because now they feel like they're getting something. Because I said, because if my value is higher and I'm willing to come down, you're getting more compared to a guy whose value starts
at 250.
At 250. And if you just rinse, repeat that cycle, you guys are going to start to get booked all the time. But you want to get booked again. So if you just do one-liners, man, for your first 15 minutes or something like that, even if it's 5 or 10, it's easy to tell jokes and make people laugh. It's easy, right? But how do you remember? How do you get them remembering? How do you get them saying a joke that's so unique and original? You're not just making them laugh, you're making a memory. So they want to tell that joke to their friends, and they're going to say who came up with that joke, and they're going to try to book you again. Because every person that's watching, that's your second time you get paid. They're your references.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn. That's crazy.
Dropping bombs, son.
Yeah.
Dropping bombs over here, baby.
Education
it's like
bombs.
Baghdad in this bitch.
But that's what I like about being able to talk to people or even talk to myself out loud, because these are all lessons that I've learned and everything. As recently as a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know these things a week and a half ago, but I made a podcast episode about it. I made an imprint. But now I kind of have a formula, an idea. And if I could have started knowing what I know now, I wouldn't be running in circles around. You got to say stuff that's clean. You got to say stuff that won't get you in trouble with an HR, and you got to play the game and not getting canceled. Because if you have a chance to be on America's Got Talent, do you really think you can be dirty?
No.
No.
Not even a little bit.
You won't make it on the air. You might make everybody laugh, but it won't be on the air.
Yeah, I listen.
It's not hard. It's not hard to make people laugh.
Right. I listened to this one podcast called the Funny Muscle Podcast, and it's Mike Lucas and Chris Stifler. Chris is based out of Colorado, and Mike is based out of Dallas. And they were talking about how your set, if you're first coming up, you want to have a clean set. You want to be able to go up and be able to tell these clean jokes and stuff like that, to get people to be okay, he's a good guy, and then, afterwards, that's when you start busting out some of them raunchy jokes or whatever and get people to be oh, okay. But you want to have a clean set so you can go and do corporate events, or you can go and do a birthday party or whatever, or if they're hey, you ask them hey, is this a clean or is this a dirty event, and
yeah. And I think that's even problematic. And what I realized is if all of your material is really funny, I mean, really, really funny. Remember what I said about don't have your best stuff in the front or in the end? Imagine if it was nothing but highlights.
Yeah.
All right. That would be great. That's what it should be. If you want anyone who's a great, great joke writer who is not dirty at all, you know who Ian Edwards is by chance?
I don't.
He's this British guy. If you look him up on Prime, if you look up Ian, Ian Edwards, he's this guy who has this funny accent, and he's a black dude and he's British. Or I think he has a British-esque accent, but he's actually from Jamaica. I think that's what it is. But anyway, I sent him a message on Instagram one day, and he basically just said, I go line from line. That's his best advice, is go line from line. And I've been doing that, and ever since doing that, it's paid dividends. But my point is that if you don't have to think what kind of crowd this is, it doesn't matter what kind of crowd it is. If all of your jokes are clean, the way you write clean jokes, it isn't from avoiding words. It's from the premise. So if I'm doing, you can't say a clean joke about sex. You can't. It's just because of the premise.
But you can clean up after sex.
That's true. That's true. Right? But anything that you say, if I talk about my daughter jokes are hilarious. My wife jokes, I'll give you a few jokes right now. Okay. And I don't want to set the bar too high or anything, but again, these are back to back, back to back, back to back, back to back. They're just short little one-liners. This is within that 15-minute, throwing Hail Mary set kind of thing or whatever, right? Which is, I have a great girl and I have a great wife, but she is a really horrible gift giver. You see, every year I ask her for the exact thing over and over again, and I never get it. Every Christmas, all I ask her for is a divorce. My wife, she's so attractive. Whenever we go out together, people take a look at me, and then my wife, and me, and my wife. And they're like, what is this? Make a wish? How does this work? Honestly, I have no idea. You know those people that try to use smart words to try to sound like big words to try to make themselves sound like they're smarter than other people.
Mm-hmm.
My wife does that, but when she does it, it's just called talking because I'm dumb. Like the other day, she came up to me and she was like, "So yesternight, I had the craziest idea." I said, "Yesternight? I'm thinking like, I don't think that's a thing. I looked it up. I was like, you got to be shitting me. That's a real word. I didn't say shitting me in the actual joke, but that's actually how it happened. And I looked, I was like, and she said, yeah, yester, which is Latin, meaning the day before. And it was nighttime, not the daytime, that I had this idea. So yesternight. I'm thinking that's crazy. Like, I had no idea just because someone was Latina, that meant somehow they could also speak Latin. It's crazy. Like, again, just making fun of yourself again. You know what I mean? Like, It kind of makes sense though, right? Because like Chinese people speak Chinese, Korean people speak Korean, so it makes sense that people from Latin America could speak
Latino. If
not, they gotta start calling themselves Latinos. I think a better term is Spanishos.
Spanishos.
I'm saying everything I'm saying is clean right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can be like, you can leave and you can be like Spanishos. You know what I mean? But at no point I'm like, oh, what kind of a crowd is it? Is it a black crowd or is it a white crowd? Is it a Spanisho crowd? Is it clean? Can I say it in a church? Can I say it here? You know? Just have your best references other people. And think about it if it's my opinion as far as whether you should write a joke and have it count. I've written so much more jokes than I'm ever going to say. I've written tons of dirty jokes. So I'm like, this is hilarious, but I'm never going to say this. So I'm still going to write it down for my friends. You know what I mean? Like, call them, say some crazy stuff. And like, oh, it's awful. I'll tell you one of the worst jokes I ever wrote, like, as far as like really messed up. All right. Really messed up. And I won't ever say this on stage. John Gacy.
Yeah.
You know who he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What a horrible person. Now, on Peacock, there is two things. Number one, there's a documentary about him. Hate to say this word. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. There's also a new series that just came out, also on Peacock.
Hilarious.
All right. He is such a horrible person. But from the documentary and even in the film, this guy was an extremely funny, charismatic guy was such a horrible, horrible person. Just to give you a light and day perspective as far as how scary, and again, this is something that I thought was hilarious, but I can't say it in front of a crowd, right? Was when I was watching the documentary, there was this sheriff, and when he first got him, he was confessing, he was singing like it was a American Idol, right? He was just telling, oh, I did this and I did that and everything else. But leading up to it, when he was being investigated, like he would go to like the police officer's car and tap on the window and be like, hey guys, you like flapjacks? You want to come inside? And they're like, what? And they're like, it's like, we're investigating you for potential murder of one person. That's before they knew everything else they knew. Right. And he's just like, well, listen, I mean, I got some errands to do. So if you don't mind, you mind giving me a ride? We can take one car. And they're like, all right. They start drinking beers together. And I'm like, what's going on? And then later when all these bodies were exhumed, like when they would talk to the neighbors, and even the neighbors, like in the documentary, it was so crazy because they was just like, it's so awful. It's so awful. I'm like, ma'am, did you know him? She's like, it's so awful. He used to mow my yard. And they're like, that. No, I mean this. She's like, yeah, it's awful that my yard can't be mowed anymore. And he's like, and they're like, and someone else is just like, his tuna salad was just so good. And they're like, God, I'd like, let's focus on the tragedy here. You know,
it's to die for. It's like, all right. Well,
phrasing.
It was weird because like that is one part where I just could not stop laughing. It was so awful, so funny. So this really happened when the sheriff arrested him. The sheriff's giving an interview. And this is for the documentary. And he said, yeah, I had him in some handcuffs. And first question I had to him once we started exhuming all the bodies was, I said, John, you're a horrible and despicable, awful person. That being mentioned, I have some questions for you. He says, sure, buddy, however I can help. He's like, I appreciate them. I mean, focus. And as this is happening, it was the first ever time there was a news reporter watching an interrogation with a camera guy in there, the sheriff, John Gacy. It was the camera guy, the sheriff, John Gacy, and a news reporter. And they're all sitting at this round table. And this really happened. And the sheriff said, my first question for you is, the way that he got caught is a body got found in a river. That was how they found, and it was the last person that he was seen with. He had like a receipt in his pocket, whatever. Anyway, and they tracked him very easily to make this happen. And he said, John, first question to ask you is, if you had such an illustrious career killing all these innocent people, why did you get sloppy and throw one off the bridge? It was like simple. Ran out of room underneath my house. I was like,
is he doing stand-up?
And then the sheriff started laughing. And so I was like, oh my gosh, it's so honest, but he's so funny. And he was like, all right, second question. Was there any technique that you used to actually dispose of the body when you were throwing them into the river? He was just like, I just grabbed them by their neck and threw them in like they're going to feel it. Huh? And then I'm thinking like, and then this is when he realized he was a serial killer. He said, so how did you convince all these people to come back to your place, and how did you subdue them? He said, Sheriff, you mind taking all these This really happened. This is when it switches from like funny to crazy, right? Again, I can't say these on stage. I'm not going to, right? But he was like, you mind taking these handcuffs off? And he's like, well, I don't know. And she's like, where am I going to go? I'm already in prison. I'm being interviewed. This news reporter is watching. And the news reporter said, yeah, how did you do that? He says, man, what if I told you I knew a magic trick and I could take these handcuffs off without you seeing? And he even does that magic trick in the, not the documentary, but the actual like docu-series, if that makes sense, where it's like reenacted. So he had some handcuffs. The sheriff took it off him. And he used the key, and he said, can I have your wrists? And the lady said, yeah, sure. He said, the magic was making you think that I'm a magician. He went click, 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 click. He went click, 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 click. He said, the trick is when he learned that I'm not. Then he grabbed the center of the piece, pulled the reporter, and said, you'd be mine now.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Like I said, so there's jokes that you write, and then crazy shit, and you're like, I can't wait to call my friends.
I can't wait to call my friends.
This is gonna.
But it was so crazy, man.
That is crazy.
And like I said, all the time I'm writing stuff where I have to like ask myself. Point is, long story short, if, in my opinion, my humble opinion, when you're writing jokes, you have to think not if it makes them laugh, but what is the likelihood that they're going to share that joke? And if they can't share it, scrap it.
Scrap it.
I think that's solid advice, because I love Jimmy Carr, but if it's a joke that I can't share, I'm not going to tell it.
Right.
And all of his jokes, even as dark as they are, you can still share them. Some stuff that like the Skank podcast, the stuff that they say, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Tony Hinchcliffe, definitely not.
Right.
You know, but if you write a joke and it makes people laugh, you want to make sure it's something that they can tell somebody else. Because if they can't be a reference. Like I heard this thing that was so funny, but I can't tell you.
Like what?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to know now.
You see what I mean? So
I'm going to send you the link.
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, you want to hear my closing 1 hour joke?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So here's the thing, and this is all true, and hopefully it makes you laugh. So this is after I do about like 6 minutes of like short, condensed jokes living in Russia. So the first thing is like I used to live in Russia, and I went there like my junior and senior year of college. And while I was there, I had a lot of crazy experiences. And I even, like, one of the jokes that I say on stage before getting to my final joke, it's a setup for it, but it's true, is that if you ever see a Russian outside of Russia, okay, they're either going to be one of two things. They're going to be Russian mafia or they're spy. That's it. plain and simple, because they're not allowed to leave the country. As a matter of fact, I had a Russian professor who once told me, he says, "Do you know what you call a Russian on an airplane?" I was like, "I don't know what." He says, "Nothing. We are not allowed on them."
Okay.
I was like, "Oof, it's rough." He's like, "It's like a zoo. You can come to visit, but the zoo, if you live there, you cannot leave." I was like, "Ugh."
Shit.
Anyway, so he told me that, and but yeah. So if you ever see a Russian that is outside of Russia, they're going to be one of two things: Russian spy or Russian mafia, plain and simple. And you'll know because you ask them what they do. They always have the exact one answer. So if you ask a guy that's like a random Russian guy what they do for work, you'll know they're Russian spy, Russian mafia, because they'll always like look around and make sure nobody's listening. Lean in to make sure only you can hear, and they'll just say one word. You'll be like, "Hey man, so what do you do for work?" And they'll be all like, "Business." And if you really want to be risky, okay, ask them a follow-up question, which I don't advise. I remember when I did that to an actual Russian gangster who I knew was in the mafia, because of they had like the regular mafia uniform that you always see in films. It's 100% legit. And I asked him what kind of work that he did. He said business. And I said, "What kind of work?" He took out a handgun, pointed at me. He said, "Waste management." I was like, so I said something funny, made him laugh, and I was like, that's the day I decided to be a comedian. So, you know what I mean? So, but believe it or not, and this is like the final joke I always say, which is that was not the scariest moment I had when I was living in Russia. The scariest moment I had when I was living in Russia was when I was actually kidnapped by the Russian mafia. I'm not Bert Kreischer, okay? He was there for like a weekend summer camp or something. I was there for like 2 years, okay? A lot more stories I could do, hours just about Russia, but I try to diversify that and leave that for the future and some for the present. But this was the worst or best. So when I was living in Russia, I was going to this place in Russian called, it was like the Institute Международных образовательных Program, which in long Russian basically means it's an engineering school for international students. I'm not an engineer. I was going there just to learn Russian language because I had to, as a part of like my like degree program. I figured, hey, I don't hate women and beer is cool. So sounds like a fun place that I should go. Right. Yeah. And they're statistically not ugly. Second World War really cleared out all the guys. So the girl to guy ratio in most major cities is like 4-1, maybe 5. It's crazy. Right. And they are so competitive. They will know that you have another girlfriend and they will deal with it. They will be your Thursday and they will call your Wednesday to make sure that, you know, that you're okay. Whatever. Anyway, it's a real thing. But anyway, digressing a little bit. So I was going to a school in Russia. I was living in a city called St. Petersburg. And I remember one day I wanted to take the midnight train to Moscow. Sounds like it's like a cool like rock film or something, or, you know, like a rock and roll band, Midnight Train to Moscow. Yeah, right? So I had an Oakley backpack and I had a wallet with like a green shoelace that I tied around. I put it like in my shirt, one of these, you know, and I had a pair of shoes, a couple pair of jeans, and I was off to the races. So I got on like the midnight train, and there's all these entrances you can get onto when you get on the midnight train, just like any other part of the day. But the difference is when you get off, they condense all of the entrances into one exit, kind of like last call, make sure everybody's off. And when I got on the train, it was about midnight. And when I got off the train, I'm in Moscow. It's like 4 hours later. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. Pitch black out. It's snowing. Don't see a thing. And all the lights are on. I've got people coming from both directions just to get off this train. And as everybody's getting off the train, I could see that there was some duraki. They had some thugs. Durak is like a thug. Duraki, I is plural. Anyway. And they had like an old school Polaroid picture, you know, like take a picture and it was like an actual photo Polaroid picture. And I noticed as they were getting off the train, this guy had a Polaroid picture, old school. And as I'm getting closer and closer to get off the train, I could tell this guy in the front, he was looking at the picture, looking at the person. If it wasn't them, pulled them off the train. Look at the picture, look at the person. If it wasn't them, pulled them off the train. And they kept doing this over and over again until I got closer and closer. And then it was my turn. They look at the picture, look at me, look at the picture again. This time they turn around and look for their boss. Their boss just does one of these. He's like, At this point, I knew something was wrong. And it was really like the first time I was ever picked up by my elbows. Okay. My feet off the ground, and I was escorted in the back of a black Cadillac Escalade, who parked on the actual train tracks of the opposing train that wasn't there, okay, on the rocks. That's some thug stuff. That's some mafia stuff. Look at his expression. He's like, ugh.
That's
right?
some Duraki shit.
Yeah, that's some Duraki stuff, right? So point is, next thing I know, we're on this gravel road, then we pull off onto the highway, and we're off of the races. It's like 100 miles an hour. It feels like that. It's kilometers, so it's like 160 or 190 or whatever it is. And I'm in the middle of this giant Russian guy, another giant Russian guy. I'm in the back seat, sandwiched in the middle. All right. They got the driver in the front and then the passenger to the right. The boss is sitting shotgun, right? And it's snowing. It's pitch black out. You can't really even see 15 feet in front of you. This all actually happened. And I could see from a distance, all lights in Moscow lead to Red Square. And I could see it's smaller and smaller and closer and closer. I'm like, are we going to like the Kremlin or like what's happening? Like, and a lot of the mafia, they work with spies too. They'll do like blackmail schemes and stuff to be able to extort you to give, all your money. And that's just what they do. That's just what they do, right? It's just one of the many ways they make money. And they're going faster and faster. And all of a sudden, I realized this wasn't like a blackmail scheme. When the boss turned around, he looked at me. He says in Russian, he gets in my face. He does one of these. You know what I mean? And he's like, where's the drugs? Where's the money? Where's the money? Where are the drugs? And as all this is going on, all I can think at that moment was, oh my God. I can't believe they still use Polaroids. Thank you very much. Good night.
That's fucking awesome. Oh, yeah. Because I can only imagine too being in the crowd being like, Polaroid. What the fuck?
Yeah, because I'm like, that's not where I was expecting you were going with this story.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I forgot the drugs at the house.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
Now, part of the reason why I don't talk about that's actually where it ends. But in reality, what happened was, and for good reason, I don't talk about what happened after the fact is, they looked at my passport, they saw it was a U.S. passport. And they were like, they told me to pull over the car. Or they told the driver to pull over the car. And apparently, this looks like every Russian guy. So it was a mistaken identity.
It was a wrong person.
And then when they saw my passport, the Russian guy, he's just like, why don't you say you speak English? And I was just like, you didn't ask. You just picked me up from the train. And
you kind of just
showed me. Oh, actually, there was a part of that story that I leave off just because it adds unneeded context to it. But I said I wasn't going to get in the car with him. He told me to get in the car. And he told me Russian. And I understood. I just went. Again, I didn't speak any English. I mean, I spoke Russian, but I wasn't speak it to them in that moment.
Right.
The guy opened up his jacket. He had a Tech 9.
Nice.
And I was like,
yeah.
I'm thinking like, yeah. I'm thinking
like,
it is pretty cold out. I was just like, I went, okay. So that was when they picked me up and they just escorted me. But when they looked at my passport and he said, we thought you were Ukrainian. I was like, would it have mattered? He says, yes, we own that shit. I was like,
we own that shit.
Little did I know I couldn't say the rest of that joke later for a certain reason, And then it continues. This is like the older version, okay, when it was still, but now it's like, I can't say that part now. And then I said, so what do you want to do now? He says, you want to go to club,
Want to go to the club?
Hey,
you want to pick someone out on?
party?
Yeah. He said, do you want to go to bus station? We pick someone up and freak them out. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
You were like,
I was just like, and I could hear he was like very like disappointed because if you're from the U.S., you're like, first off, you're off limits. Like the boss of bosses would be like off limits, diplomat issues, whatever. Okay, any other country. Okay, they're fine. But they thought I was like this one guy, I guess, from like Ukraine that like took their whatever or something like that. And so the yeah,
Sorry, that's just funny.
yeah, no, yeah, I just like their accents are so like I said.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing that I learned doing comedy. I can do accents for white countries, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You do a guy from, let's just say, an ethnically different place, or anything else in between, or maybe somewhere that's ethnically in America but not like this. Figure it out or don't. Problematic. But if you say, hey, you want to hear my impersonation of a Hispanic? And you're like, yeah, sure. And like, hey, what's up, man? You know what I'm saying, son? You don't like. It just confuses people because they're like, that's a really bad Mexican, but it sounds like, nope, it's not what I was doing.
It's a really bad Mexican.
Sorry. Yeah.
Wait,
but anyway,
did you go to the club?
Oh yeah. So, I said, honestly, I said, at this point, I think I just wanted to go to my hotel, and he was like, and I could hear like he was disappointed in his voice. He was like, no, I mean, if you don't want to go, it's just. I was just like, but I mean, we could drink it at my hotel. He's just like, okay, we make party. And then I just started like drinking with these guys, and it was a crazy night. And like next thing I know, this one guy had two hands underneath the table. I'll always remember this. He had two hands underneath the table, and they like hard bread and salami. And they have a rule in Russia where it says if you open a bottle, it's bad luck unless you drink it the whole thing. So before you open a bottle, you have to have at least 3 people total, at least, to open a bottle. And then secondly, when you open it, you have to commit to all of you finishing it together. And if you don't want to drink a lot, invite more people, or you will, or don't open it. But if you open it, it has to be finished. So this one guy from that car, he has hands underneath the table, all right? And he looked at me and he said, I have a question for you. And I'm thinking like, I already thought that I got out unscathed. And this is all extra information. I haven't told anybody this, let alone on first ever podcast. I've only told friends this. And he had these 2 hands on the table. So we're sitting at a table, and it's the 3 of them. And I guess one of the guys is at the door, like blocking the door. That's just what they do. It's weird, And we're sitting at a table, 4 of us, me and the 3 other guys, and the guy across from me, he just keeps staring at me, and I just feel like, I don't know, he just, somebody just stares at you. Somebody just stares at you, and it's like bad intentions or something like that. Or maybe he was just messing with me. I didn't really know, but he had his hands underneath the table. Everyone else had their hands on top of the table. And he was just like, let me ask a question. If there was a gun on table and knife on table, and your life depends on it, what would you grab? The knife or the gun? He said, the gun may have no bullets. The knife, you grab it, won't run out of bullets. It can stay sharp. But you don't know if gun have bullets or no. So what would you do? Your life depends on it. And I'm like, he went from saying, what if, to your life depends on it.
Yeah, you're like,
And I'm thinking like, am I back in the car right now? Like... And then he was just like, Dimitri, please don't, please. And then the other guy was just like, no, he's big boy. And I'm like,
He's boy.
Yeah, big boy. And he said, so what would you grab? He's like, if you would grab the gun, you could have unlimited bullets, but there might not be any. It could also jam. If you grab the knife, okay, it won't run out of ammunition, but you can continue to use it. What would you grab? And I said, what would I grab? He said, yeah. I said, what would I grab? He said, yeah. I said, the gun or the knife? He said, yeah. I said, the door.
Yeah.
They all started laughing, and he went, it was a good answer. And he puts his hand back up on the table like this, and I didn't see. And I was just like, guys, it's getting late. I really got to go to bed. And I was like, do you want another round? Then I just got up. I already had my bag on me the whole time. I just left.
I just left. That's crazy.
They're still looking for
it. It
you
was crazy. It's like hitching a ride from a great white shark.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
and not getting bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But I have so many stories about Russia and stuff like that.
I mean, if you don't want the club, that's fine.
Yeah, I know, and it's so cool.
Okay.
Yeah, like come to find out, if you make fun of people that are white, you're like, you're okay. Any other complexion, it's a hard pass.
Hard pass.
Oh, I by the way, I still say that joke about my dentist, and it still hits. I only just say the one insult about my teeth. If it was the name of a group, it was called Jagged Edge, right? But I don't use the accent. But I feel like, unfortunately, it does lose a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you throw that accent in, and that's what kind of helps it out just a little, because then that gives it more, like, because you're like, yeah, my dentist, he's Korean.
It's
or
more
whatever.
authenticity.
Yeah, and then you add the voice, and then everybody's like, there it is, because it's like you can picture
It
the
makes
person.
them think about somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. We literally just hung out with somebody over the weekend who was, I'm not going to say what kind of Asian he was, but he was definitely part Asian. Just some of the, and his last name was Wang. So, I mean, like, I thought it was pretty cool, because whenever I came up and he showed me his name, I was like, Mr. Wang? I was like, that's what's up, dude. I was like, you're my boy.
That's
Wang.
so cool, man. The fun that he must have with that, or he should at least.
Oh, yeah. He's a stunt man, too. So, I mean, like, you know,
what?
Yeah, we'd produce a podcast for the stuntman who was in the all the Transformers movies. He was in a couple of the Fast and Furious movies. He's the original
cool, man.
Dukes of Hazzard and stuff like that. You should check it out. It's called Stunt Stories. It's pretty
Stunt
cool.
Stories? I am going to do it. That sounds cool.
He's
like
here
crazy stuff.
He's here out at Steenville, out of Texas and stuff. He's from
really?
California, yeah, but he lives here in Steenville.
That's cool. You know what's funny is it like, I told my wife, like, I don't really know why, but I feel like if I meet like a random guy at UPS, like we can get a timeshare in Cabo, like 20 minutes, we get talking. You know what I mean? Like, guys, we just start like vibing with each other. Like, we've been doing this for, I think, like over an hour and stuff. And again, it's just, I'm totally cool. But I know at a certain point, my significant other is going to give me a look. And it's kind of like, it's like whenever I leave the house, I told you, like if I go out to get milk, I'm like, I'm going to be 2 hours. So I'm going to try new material. And I'm going to come back with milk and probably some other stuff, you know, like some sweet tarts, which I had to find a reason to stay out longer.
I thought he was about to pull some milk out and be like, I still got to go
bro.
take this.
No, I was like, she was just like, I was like, I need sweet tarts. She was just like, what? I was like, I need them. So I just went to Walmart. I started walking this around, and I was just like, hey, can I try this joke on you? I don't know if it'll work. That was when I figured out today that joke about cheating in a counting contest, because I started a billion. It's so dumb. You know what I mean? But a lot of times dumb stuff works.
Oh, man, those jokes. I love those jokes where it's so like simple sometimes, and the people that catch it, you're like, yes. But the ones that don't catch it, you're like, come on.
And it has to work on everybody, and that's part of the difficulty. I feel like part of the difficulty is making something. There's like I don't think genius is actually using a lot of words. I think genius is actually getting a concept across with the least amount of information as possible. So like I have a friend of mine, all right? He's like 400 pounds, okay? And I don't want to say his name because it's like irrelevant to what I'm saying, but it does rhyme with Richard. Okay, all right, actually that is his name. But anyway, my buddy, Richard, he's about 400 pounds. He said he was going to be flying into Dallas, Texas the other weekend. He wanted to know if when he landed, I could pick him up. I told him, ordinarily, I would love to do it, but I just couldn't. He's way too heavy.
Okay. I knew it was coming, too.
I mean, talk about testing a friendship. Like I'm super yoked, bro, but I mean, but that's my whole point. It's just these dumb, like, misdirection. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a joke that I know that works.
I'm going to run to the store, and it's like, well, you should probably drive. It'd be quicker. And it's like, God damn it.
Like the last show I did, this is actually like my starting joke that I say on stage now is, by the way, another thing that I've recently realized is everybody wants to be a part of the show. So if you can, if you try, and this is something that I'm learning for myself, and I'm going back through all my jokes. I'm figuring out how can I involve the crowd into this joke? How can I do that? So perfect example. I start out by saying, hey, everybody, thank you very much. I appreciate being here tonight. I'm sure you guys are all great people. And I started thinking statistically that can't be true. Yeah. So then I interrupted and I say, actually, you know what? Statistically, you guys can't be you can't all be great. There's got to be some duds out there, you know, and that gets a laugh. And that's just from thinking about, as you're going through jokes, how can I interrupt myself to throw the crowd in there? Because you don't want somebody droning on, even if they're hilarious. And if they are, how much more rewarding is it if you're like, uh-oh, any second now, he might call on me, compared to a guy where like, I'm fine. You keep people more attentive. Just like a teacher, if they start calling on students in the middle of their lectures and stuff. So I say, yeah, some of you guys got to be duds, just bad coworkers, bad wives, bad neighbors, bad husbands, bad breath. And then right after I say that, even when somebody doesn't look, I point to somebody and I go, sir, please don't look at her. I was like, every time the guy's like, no, I didn't. And then that time they will look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the girl's like, what are you saying? Like starting trouble, you know what I mean? Like instigating. Do guy stuff, instigate,
Okay.
Gas them up. Right? It's fun. And then I say, this is like something I just started doing as of this last weekend, but I wrote it so that I could purposely stir the pot. You know what I mean? And I tried and it worked. But anyway, so I said, yeah, I was like, I don't know what the relationship is in here or something like that, but every time I say this joke, one person's always like, can we just, anyway. So again, I'm sure you guys are all great people. It's a great venue. There's also a great venue change. The last show I did, it was actually at a famous aquarium. Tough crowd. Never could make those fish laugh. You know what it sounds like when a fish laughs?
What's that?
Me neither. I have no idea. I don't know. You see? Just constant misdirection. Yes. You know what I think it would sound like if a fish laughed? I don't know. It's a fair guess.
It's a
fair guess. And then I just start getting into like one-liners and stuff like that. But again, nothing that I'm saying is bad. Right. If you just think like, what schoolyard dumb jokes can I start to say that's just stupid? You said things today, both of you all, which I think that like, if you just like think less or think more about thinking less, if that makes sense, like think harder about being dumber, you'd be surprised the dumb, funny things that you could think of. Both of y'all have said some stuff where I was just like, I can't even comprehend that.
He's like, I just hit the end.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's that dumb stuff. It's that dumb stuff. Now, if you could just multiply that. Another cool thing is when you fill up, when you start doing more crowd work, as I'm realizing now myself, the less you have to rely on your written material and the more written material you can use for later shows and other shows and later dates.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because the crowd is taking some of that time.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing this stuff. I'm still learning.
Yeah. And if you record your set, that one podcast I listened to, they say record your set, watch your listen back to it and stuff like that, but don't post any of that stuff. Post like the crowd work. That's what you post on social media to get people's attention.
Yes.
And then you keep your jokes not hidden, but you keep them where it's like, you want to hear my jokes? You gotta come to the live show. Like I think that's where, a lot of people, because it's one of those, we don't want to be on social media because it's just kind of like you doom scroll at times, but then it's like, but I need to be on social media so I can get my name out there, and it's like, God.
We were talking to Tom about that too.
It's really annoying. It's really annoying because if you do 61 minute different 1 minutes, you just gave out why should anybody buy anything?
Right. Yeah.
You just have all of your jokes online.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, when I was saying earlier how those people like put their jokes on TikTok and then you go see them in person and it's like, well, I know I'm here because of that joke, but like that's all you got. Like you're gonna say the same joke, okay? Do a kick flip.
Yeah. What's funny is somebody who who Ari Spears is by chance?
Yes.
Do you have Prime Video by chance, number 2?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has a stand-up special called Comedy Blueprint. And I think, which is crazy because I message people on Instagram who I have no reason why they would message me back. Almost every single one of them. When I message somebody, message me back. Ari Spears Instagram messaged me back.
Wow.
Ian Edwards messaged me back. But my point is that if you want to get better at crowd work or just like the concept of it, and this is also like pre-Corona, pre-Black Lives Matter, not that I cared for him, but if you type in Ari Spears on Prime Video on the search function, right? It'll call it Ari Spears Comedy Blueprint. Bro, he is a master. If you want to be better at, I think again, this is just me trying to be better, thinking out loud. All right, making memories for myself while also sharing the information with you. If you watch Ari Spears' Comedy Blueprint, okay, it's included. You don't even have to pay for it. I promise you. You watch it, you will start to understand how he is multiplying the laughs of his joke by including the crowd and making his crowd. He isn't just saying the joke; he's making the crowd a part of the joke.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So please, and I would love to do this again. You know what I mean? I'd love to like,
dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
We'd love to have you back on.
Well, but next time we'll have you in person.
oh, for sure, 100%, 100%. I don't know whose lap I'll be on. We can talk about that later. We'll talk about the first thing that the first thing that pops up.
Hey, gang.
Hey, but I'm telling you, man, like, I'm really, really trying to be analytical, and I love the scientific method because even though comedy is its own science, but it's the only art where you need the ebb and the flow of the ocean. Like, you can't surf without waves, right?
Sure.
And it's not like music. I can't just blare on for an hour and have you just sit there. If you're not reacting, I don't want to. I used to cut myself off like all the time. I would have people laughing, and like before I was more focused on what I was saying next, so I just cut them off. That's why I started conditioning people to stop laughing. Right?
Yeah.
There's something called rote memory, ROTE, and it basically means that. Getting kind of technical for a second, but there was an acting instructor, Sanford Meisner. He came up with something called the Meisner technique, which pretty much means if you're rehearsing your lines, which is what he always employed on everybody to do, once you know them relatively well, give yourself a task to do. Me, what I do is I try to do it while I'm driving. I try to do it while I'm doing the dishes. And when you give yourself a conscious activity while you're trying to memorize something, memorizing it becomes a level of difficulty harder. But once you do have it memorized, as you're doing the dishes and stuff like that, you're drilling it to your subconscious. So when you get on stage, you can just relax.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And that's called rote memory. Rote memory is like you don't think about breathing when you're walking, right? But if you start to write something down and then you start to like memorize it, but again, don't memorize something that doesn't work. Just give like a loose structure when you're testing stuff out. So there's like the testing phase and then the rehearsing phase after you know it works, right? Write it down to keep it, right? Write it down, throw it away. So you test it out, you know it works. If it doesn't, don't say it. If it works, then you start rehearsing it. Then we can go from stop reading stuff, or you could just put it on audio. You know what I mean? Like you can just like talking to your phone and just listen back to your own jokes. Then you can just start pausing it and then just start saying it and going back to your notes until you finally actually have it to where you can say it out loud. Then you add a level of difficulty to it before you get on stage by adding a physical task to it. Okay? Like doing the dishes or driving. When I'm driving, if I'm trying to say new jokes, I'm like, all of a sudden I start tricking myself and I'm like, oh, it's because I'm focused on driving. No. It's because I'm not really remembering. I don't have it known enough. And once I can be like, like walking around or doing this, people think I'm crazy sometimes. I'll walk around like my neighborhood. I'm like, you know what I mean? But even walking around and saying your lines is kind of hard because I'll be walking around and be like, my friend is 400 pounds and he lives in Dallas and I don't want to say his name because it's irrelevant to the joke, but his name is like I could literally just be like going like, my friend is 400 pounds. His name is, I would never want to say what his name is. You see, I even messed up just doing that right now.
Yeah.
But when you add difficulty to something, then you drill it to your memory, to your subconscious. Then you can take it out on stage. But if you can't do that, if you can't do a simple task, and the more difficult task, the better, something where you have to like operate something or you're trying to put something away or organize something, you're consciously focusing on one thing while subconsciously letting your mouth do this, you're drilling it to like a deeper place.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So once you can do that, figure out what works, learn it, then add a difficulty to it, then just get 1 minute and then 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. But if you can add one-liners up front and then try to, through all of your material, incorporate the crowd, you can have 2 hours before you realize you ever had 1 hour. You're getting people locked in on you. Again, this is new. I'm taking my own advice. This is new things that I just learned from like 8 days ago on Saturday when people couldn't hear me in the back.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You got to learn something new every day, regardless of what it is, especially with comedy. It's always like something new. Always something new.
But if you could incorporate like different elements, if you could be Aries Spears crowd work, okay, and if you could be doing Rodney Dangerfield's one-liners and Richard Pryor's stories and Bernie Mac's wild antics of being able to yell and scream at people, why can't you be all of them?
Yeah.
When you start doing that, people will know in the beginning of your show, you can just start to line it up. And then light them up with those one-liners. And then once you have them hooked, and even through that, you can continue to always be doing that crowd work stuff, making fun of them in the middle of your joke. Instead of thinking about how to make it better, you could be thinking, how can I bring someone into the audience with this? Perfect example. I know I keep talking a lot. So perfect example, something I just thought the other day was something that I tried that worked in Gatesville, where this show I did was a couple Saturdays ago, was I say, after I do that joke about tough crowd, about the fish and everything, I get on stage really slow and I say, as you may have noticed, I move pretty slow. There's nothing wrong with me. Okay. That's a tactical choice and something that I do so I can avoid helping other people. Okay. Say people think twice before they ask me to come here for a minute or to help them out with something, because they know if they do, someone asks me to come here for a minute, I will take well over a minute, no matter how close they are, just to get there. And I say, so if I'm sitting down and my wife's like, honey, will you come here a minute? I'll get up. All right. And I'll turn to her direction. Then I'll move as slow as I possibly can while still technically being moving. And I'll be like, coming. And I just like, I move so slow going forward, it looks like I'm going backwards. By the time I'm halfway there, my wife wants no part of me. She says, never mind. So I just do like a Super Bowl slow-mo. I'll just. That's one. Then two, I go back to the crowd. I say, I've also been told I slouch a lot, and I'll actually point to you. I can't. I'll point to both of you. Out of you, right? I've also been told that I slouch a lot. There's nothing tactile about that. It's called bad posture. Look at this guy on the right. He's what I'm talking about. Yeah. You look like you're built like a Ninja Turtle, bro. Look at you. You got like a hunchback. Yeah. I saw. Hey, before you leave, you get a chance. Look at him when he walks out. Seriously, your back all right? I don't know why, man. I don't know why. I like you. What I just said, I can say to anybody. Right. It doesn't matter their posture. You know what I mean? But I was thinking I was like, ooh, I was talking about my bad posture. What if I start talking about other people? What if I start making fun of them? And it worked out great. And then I said, and so anyway, carrying on with the bit, I said, I don't know why, man. I'm sorry, making fun of you. I'm just joking. Okay. I don't know why, but I like you. Now, this guy beside you wearing the hat, this guy, he's about to not like me. Want to see why? What's your name? What's your name, sir? Wearing the hat?
My name's John.
Excuse me, sir. We're talking here. All right. I'm working. Oh. All right. I'm seriously. What's your name one more time?
John.
Sir, please shut it down. There's always somebody. There's always somebody that interrupts. Guys, I don't know why. I'm messing with the both of you. I like you both. I don't know. I feel like we should just get like a timeshare in Cabo. What do you think? Does it sound fun?
Sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm not into it. That's all on you guys. Well, okay. I don't know. That's weird.
He don't want to go to club with us.
You guys are some boys.
It was just some boys trying to hang out with other boy.
So, like I said, I mean, I don't really I think that if you just take these different elements and if you watch Aries Spears Comedy Blueprint, you're not just going to be laughing, but you realize what he's doing is so easy. Because when I messaged him on Instagram, I'm not expecting you an answer, but I got one. And he said, you can do it for every line. Try to do it to everybody, every show. Because that's one more reason people are going to want to come out to see you.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's crazy.
Up until last weekend, I had no idea. He told me that 2 weekends ago. I did it at the show, and people were like, my favorite part was when you kept calling people out.
I think nowadays that's how people like. I've told him, people go to comedy shows now and they're expecting to laugh. Like they see him. Oh my God, this comedy show. Oh, there's a comedy show going on in our town, and it's like they're going there to laugh. So it's like you go in there and you just be like, hey, how's it going? I'm a guy that smokes weed, and you can tell by my long hair. And there's gonna be that one person that's like, wow, I smoke weed too. And then it's like, then you can just get it rolling,
Exactly.
And that's when you're like, that's the pothead I don't hang out with.
Yeah, and that's the person who I buy my drugs from.
Something else is that like, I think if you start doing comedy in a different way, like I'm even doing magic tricks now.
I saw your video with the quarter going back and forth and shit. I was like, all right, I gotta quit. I can't. I'm not. And you lost me. I got scared. I was like, this guy black magic, dude. I don't like this.
You see, but unfortunately, I realized that I can't do that. I can't do that for an actual comedy show because they'd be too far back. But an example, here's a perfect example. All right, I've never done this. Okay, to more than one person at a time. That's all crap. But I want you to think about a number, 1 to 100, and don't tell me what your number is. Okay, do you got it? You sure? You know what your number is?
Yep.
All right. Now on the count of 3. Okay, I want you both to say your number out loud. Obviously, I'm seeing you. You're not sharing your number, but on the count of 3, when I get to 3, I'm going to point to you. I want you to say your number out loud, both of you. You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
69.
You see what just happened? Mind control. Your number? You didn't need to guess it.
Didn't even need to guess it.
Yes, dude.
All right, let me ask you, sir with the hat. Do you have a debit card? Actually, let me rephrase that. Do you have a deck of cards on you?
No, I don't.
Okay, if you did, kind of weird. I don't know why you would. You think you're a magician? You're
You're the one in the crowd.
Yeah. But how about this? What about a debit card? You got a debit card, or does he buy all the things for you in your relationship? How does it work out? I don't know. But do you have a debit card?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question about your debit card, and I need you to answer loud enough so that everyone on your podcast and your partner in crime can hear you. Okay? But I need you to say it loud enough so that everybody can hear you. Will you do that?
Yes.
You promise?
Yes.
Okay, ready. All right. Remember, mind control. Your debit card. What's your PIN? Sir, you promised. 1 out of 2 is not bad. Mind control.
Mind control.
Sir, you promised. Dude, I would.
You want to see another one?
I'd lose my shit if I was at the club and I heard you say, "Sir, you promised."
Sir, you promised.
Here's another one. All right. So, to be a true illusionist, you have to be able to do things, like take matter and be able to separate it and to magically bring it back together. So, what if I told you I could take a piece of paper, rip it into 4 pieces, and magically put it back together? Would you believe me?
No.
Impossible.
Maybe not.
I don't believe
Find
you.
out. What was 1 became 2. What was 2 became 4. 4 pieces, right?
Right.
And watch this. I'm doing the sound like this. Second. That's on the other side. This goes here. I gotta turn this one. Doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work.
You see what I'm saying? I've been fine. I'm doing magic tricks. I realized that if you were to dance really beautifully, right? It's impressive. If you do a magic trick, it's amazing. But if you ever seen somebody dance who can't dance, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Pretty
In the exact way, if you do a magic trick and you design it so it fails, people are going to laugh.
Yeah.
And that's the reaction that I really want.
People want you to fail. Yeah.
So I bought these different magic books recently, and those are only 3 jokes that I've ever done that are magic related. And I'm thinking, how can I figure out how to fuck these up? They're trying to tell me how to do it. I'm thinking, how could I possibly do something in a wrong way to make a joke? Comedy can be anything you want it to be, man. And that's what I realized. Like, you know who Steve Martin is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The actor, and he used to do comedy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before that he was a magician.
Yeah. I've
right?
never seen any of his.
I've seen his stand up, but not any of his like magic.
No, but the thing is, his magic was designed to be funny, and
Right.
that's what kind of gave me the idea. Doing magic tricks or just doing something, all right, or like a mentalist. I'm working on like that too. Like, for example, I'm going to read your mind right now. I'm going to tell you your future. You ready?
Come on.
All right. Sir with a hat. I think maybe in the next 4 to 5 days, you're going to meet a tall, handsome gentleman. Now, hold on. This guy is going to come into your life. You're going to have a wonderful relationship with him. And all of a sudden, he's going to cheat on you with a woman. These kind of things. These are just like inklings of an idea. Like, how could I read a palm and like just write something? The only thing I can ever think about writing is like gay. You know what I mean? Like, can I read your palm? Let me write on it first.
Gay.
Gay. But it's the only word I ever think. I'll text my friends balls like all the time. I'll just text them one word, just says balls. But I was thinking, I'm trying to develop ideas, right? We were like, does anybody believe in mind reading? Can I just see some hands? And some people probably put up their hands. Again, these are ideas that I'm thinking about. Okay, these people, they're called gullible. Okay, now take a quick look. Okay, now I need a dollar. Okay, can someone just give me like $1? These are just ideas I haven't done. I'm just thinking out loud within like the last weekend. All right. The ones that I already did, I know that work, but now I'm just telling you something I'm thinking about. All right. Such as, for example, like, be like, all right, hey, anybody got a 10 or a 20 or just something I can borrow? Or no, can I just have a 10 or a 20? I'm not going to say borrow on purpose. And be like, all right, this is an example of losing your money. Okay. And does anybody else want this money? 20. This is an example of giving it away.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you want your money, sir, you're gonna have to stay with him. I'm out of this. Okay. It's between you two. This is between you two. But just causing like stirring the pot and causing trouble and stuff like that. I feel like if you start to do that, I think comedy can be a lot more. Like I started learning so much more about comedy within the last like 2 months. I feel like I turned a huge corner. You ever heard of that thing called Masterclass?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an app that you can get. Plus, you can also watch it online. It's all one thing. But Steve, what's his name? I just said his name.
Steve Martin.
Yeah, Steve Martin, right? He has a master class on comedy. And he talks about writing and condensing jokes and being diverse. Because think about it like this. I think I'm going to have to leave you on this before I get right?
Yeah.
But if you try to do open mics the way everybody does open mics, if you try to do comedy and be successful the way everybody has been successful, meaning you're going to have to get into acting and be on Fear Factor or know somebody or be their family or something like that, trying to bring this thing full circle, right? Or if you do comedy different, you're doing a sport that no one's competing with. You're both getting laughs, but if you do something different, you have no one to compete with. So if you say, hey, listen, I do magic tricks, I do this, I do that, I'm a concert professional, above board, I'm a clean comedian. They're not afraid of what you're going to say because they can't get in trouble either. You don't want to get burned from your client or something like that. And a lot of them might actually have you sign a contract. And if you don't have clean stuff, then you're going to lose your money. But my whole thing is that if you really want to get good at comedy, in my opinion, add crowd work to everything. Load your sets with like the first 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even 15, nothing but like short one-liners. And a big lesson that I learned from watching Steve Martin's masterclass is less is more, shorter is better, because you can get to a punchline quicker and get on to the next one because your currency is laughs. Right. And everybody would rather see a gunfight with multiple bombs and explosions compared to just bang, 5 minutes later, bang, right?
Right.
So crowd work, one-liners, and be different. If you do that, and the tools that I use most out of everything was that masterclass and even a book that he recommended called Showmanship for Magicians. It was written in like 1932. And what's crazy about it, if you think about it, I learned so much from Steve Martin's masterclass and this book called Showmanship for Magicians. Not because it just meant me thinking about mentalist jokes and also using magic to make people laugh, but like in a funny way, right? You can be more creative. But I also learned that as far as magicians go, if you think about it, the magic trick itself is a matter of seconds, but they are a showman. So you learn more about stage presence and being interesting, even during the setup. You know what I mean? If you can keep somebody, like, that's why they have the hot girls on the stage. That's why they do this. That's why they do that. If you combine those two things, I'm telling you, your whole stand-up will go in a completely different direction. You know, I read his book too. Technically, it was audio. I still call it reading.
Reading with your ears.
Yeah, Steve Martin's book. But the masterclass, if you get that and the book called Showmanship for Magicians, or even if you just listen to it, I can't tell you how many notes I took on it, man. Because the stuff, what they're basically saying is sell the sizzle, not the steak.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's smart, though, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, think about it. How long is the actual punchline? Like in a magic show, how long is the actual magic? It's just seconds.
Right.
But they'll make it like 3 or 4 minutes before they do their one trick.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times magicians, they'll have people making, they'll make somebody laugh as they're doing something like, oh, this isn't working. What if I just stopped it right there?
Yeah.
And I didn't make it work at the end.
Doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't work all the time. Exactly. That's what I tell my wife when we're having sex,
Hey-o.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm going to go pretend to be a good husband and definitely be great to my daughter. But I really appreciate your time, guys. I really like being able to not just like here, but I like to be able to like share the information, because I really feel like a lot of the people that told me the best things told me directly that are like people that are up there, or that are up there that I learned from things that I just came across. So between Ari Spears messaging me and Ian Edwards messaging me, that's another one. By Ian Edwards, it might be a few bucks, but y'all can afford it. It's also on Prime.
Oh yeah, I think it's free.
Yeah, Ian Edwards. I got to look up Ian space. It's on Prime.
Yes, sir.
Edwards. I think it's on Prime. Let me double check. Ian Edwards.
Oh no, it wasn't him. That's Michael.
So Ari Spears was called Comedy Blueprint, but now I'm looking up Ian Edwards real quick. The point is, Ian Edwards will help you understand with his deadpan style how you don't have to. You can have the strength be in your words, not the selling it. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you can make somebody laugh when you're not even trying, when you actually add emotion to it, it's going to go through the roof. I can't even see it on Prime anymore. Now I don't have a clue where it is. But
I was going to look it up, or I was going to Google it.
Yeah, but I will look it up too.
Anyway,
but Ian Edwards, I'll just text it to you. But Ari Spears' Comedy Blueprint, as far as crowd work goes, it's so hilarious. It's so hilarious. But you can really learn how to do that. So if you just go through all of your stuff, and if you think one-liners first, we talked about money. All right. We talked about what your value should be and what it should aspire to be, $500 for every 15 minutes. Right. You can hook people on the later stuff, right? You got 4 15-minute shows in one consecutive hour. You got adding your. I mean, I'm telling you, you're gonna go through. You can do 20 minutes in a weekend. You could just start like it'll just coming off. When you start watching these comedians, when you feel like you're getting inspired, just hit pause, and then just start writing.
Right.
So anyway, I appreciate the both of you, and I don't care what he says when you're not around. You're the best.
Yeah. He says it to my face. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. He knows.
Well, what do you guys got going on the rest of the day?
I'm probably gonna sit here and edit a couple of episodes and stuff like that and get them posted up and everything.
Okay, man. Well, next time I will definitely be over there. 100%.
Yeah. Well, if you want, we can get you back on before the year's over.
Is he in the? Are you in the
I would
Metroplex?
love that.
Is he in the Metroplex?
Yeah, you're in Fort Worth, right?
Yeah, I'm in Fort Worth. Yeah, I checked. I'm like an hour and some change, like an hour 10 or something. But it's worth it.
Where are you at in Fort Worth?
Technically, it's Crowley, but it's weird because I'm right over the Crowley line, but Fort Worth Police Department in emergency, but the Crowley Police Department is across the street. It's kind of weird.
Weird.
Hello.
Like my property line says Fort Worth, but my mailing address is Crowley.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot.
But yeah, it's like an hour 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get you down here one weekend. We'll get you on the pod, and then one weekend we'll come up there and go hit a show or something. Maybe you can go see me and David do an open mic.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I would love to do that. That would be so much fun. And a side note, that sounds great, but also use the world, man. I'm telling you, use everybody else because I've had so many times.
Let's go to the mall with this guy.
Yeah. You want to go to the mall?
Yeah, but it's so cool. Just divide and conquer, like on your own time. I'm telling you, man, it's so much more helpful because I had too many situations where I was too busy to go out on a night, or maybe there was nobody but like a few chairs or guys with their head on a table. They were drinking all night or whatever. I need results, and this is no way to collect data. If you're a scientist and you're like this, I need to collect laughs. How am I going to do it? What do you need? I need people that are interested in listening and that aren't interested in speaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
How are you gonna have a crowd of listeners when everybody wants to talk?
Especially at a bar.
And especially if there's like a sports game on or something like that.
Yeah.
So wherever you can think about it, man, just start writing down the dumbest shit, the one-liners. But I'm telling you, something that really, if you just start watching these few people, you're going to get different things. You'll be inspired from Ari Spears, you'll be inspired from Ian Edwards, but in different ways. But they all need to overlap. Because that's what I'm learning. You can have all these elements in all of your comedy, and when you start combining these elements, you're going to realize your jokes are shorter, faster, and the crowd is going to be more attentive because you're calling on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld never did that. Like he was brilliant in his own way.
Fuck Jerry Seinfeld. No, I'm just kidding.
What's the deal with airline food? I don't know, Jerry. I can't fly. What is the deal with airline food?
What's with that puffy shirt?
Yeah, I love Seinfeld because of how dumb it is.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Also, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes.
Larry David. Yeah.
So good. It reminds me of like a less dark version of Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good. I got to get off before I get canceled by my wife.
Hey, have a good night, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Come on, let's pound. Let's pound each other.
Pound up. Oh yeah.
All right. Pound up. Have a good one, guys. See you.
Man.
Later, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for watching H&D Comedy Podcast.
Work it, boy.
Get funky, get freaky.
Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us so we can bring you more content.
Oh, baby.
Ooh.
Like a funk machine.